Get out of my house!" Victoria Ashford grabbed the crystal vase from the table and hurled it at the wall. It shattered into 1,000 pieces, just like her composure. The 5th nanny in 2 weeks ran down the marble staircase, tears streaming down her face. Upstairs, 18-month-old Isaiah's cries had grown so weak they barely echoed anymore. 2 weeks without eating. The doctor said he had days, not weeks. And Victoria Ashford, wife of billionaire Richard Ashford, owner of 3 homes and 4 cars and more money than God, stood in her foyer screaming at nothing because all her wealth couldn't make her son open his mouth. She didn't know that the woman who would save Isaiah was already inside her house, invisible, forgotten, pushing a cleaning cart, and carrying a secret that would burn this family to the ground. Before we continue, I want to ask you something. Where are you watching from right now? What city? What time is it there? Drop it in the comments. I love seeing how far these stories travel. And if you believe in stories that touch the heart, subscribe and stay until the very end. Trust me, you're not ready for what happens next. The crystal vase hit the wall 3 feet from Maya Johnson's head. She didn't flinch. 6 months working in this house had taught her that rich people threw things when they were upset, and the help was supposed to pretend it didn't happen. "I'm sorry, Maya." Victoria's voice shook. Her perfect blonde hair was tangled. Her silk robe hung crooked. Mascara ran down her cheeks like she'd been crying for hours. "I didn't see you there." "It's all right, Mrs. Ashford. I'll clean it up." "No." Victoria grabbed her arm. Her fingers dug in hard enough to bruise. "No, leave it. I need you to. I need—" She couldn't finish. A sob tore out of her throat. Upstairs, Isaiah cried. That thin, weak sound that had become the heartbeat of this mansion. Maya had heard it every day for 2 weeks now, getting softer each time. "He's dying." Victoria's whisper was barely audible. "My baby is dying and I can't stop it." Maya didn't know what to say. What could she say? She was just the maid. She cleaned toilets and polished silver and stayed invisible. "Mrs. Ashford, maybe I should call Mr. Ashford." "Richard." Victoria laughed, but it came out like breaking glass. "Richard is in his office, on a conference call. Our son is starving to death and my husband is talking about stock prices." She released Maya's arm and walked toward the stairs, her steps unsteady. "Clean up the glass and stay away from the nursery. Natalie is handling Isaiah." Maya watched her go. Then she looked at the shattered vase on the floor. Probably worth more than her car. She got a broom and started sweeping. 30 minutes later, she heard screaming. Not Isaiah this time. Natalie Crawford, the nanny, came storming down the stairs with her Louis Vuitton bag over her shoulder. "I quit." Natalie's face was red with fury. "I have 2 degrees. I've worked with ambassadors' children. I will not be treated like a servant by some spoiled brat who refuses to eat." Victoria ran after her. "Natalie, please. I'll double your salary. Triple it. Name your price." "There is no price." Natalie spun around at the front door. "That child is disturbed. Something is wrong with him. He looks at me like I'm a monster, like he knows something." She shuddered. "I don't want any part of this family's secrets." She walked out and slammed the door behind her. Victoria stood frozen in the foyer. For a moment, she looked so broken that Maya almost felt sorry for her. Then Victoria's eyes found Maya. "What are you looking at?" "Nothing, ma'am. I was just—" "Get back to work." Victoria climbed the stairs toward the nursery. A moment later, Maya heard Isaiah's crying get louder. Then Victoria's voice sharp and desperate. "Please, baby, please, just one bite, just one. Mommy's begging you, please." Maya's chest hurt. She'd raised 2 children of her own years ago before her husband left, before life got hard. She knew what a hungry baby sounded like, and she knew what a baby sounded like when food wasn't the problem. That child wasn't refusing to eat because he was stubborn. He was refusing because he was terrified. Maya finished her work on the first floor and moved upstairs. She was supposed to clean the guest bathrooms, but the nursery door was open, and she couldn't help glancing inside. Victoria sat in the rocking chair, sobbing. Isaiah was in his crib, lying on his back, staring at the ceiling. He wasn't crying anymore. He wasn't making any sound at all. That was worse. Maya's grandmother used to say that when a baby stops crying, that's when you worry. A crying baby is fighting. A silent baby has given up. She kept walking. Not her business, not her place. She was invisible here, and invisible people didn't get involved. But she couldn't get that image out of her head. That little boy lying there silent, staring at nothing. At lunchtime, Maya ate her sandwich in the servants' kitchen. Margaret O'Sullivan, the old Irish housekeeper, sat across from her. "You heard about Natalie?" Margaret asked. "Hard not to." "That's the 5th one." Margaret shook her head. 5 nannies in 2 weeks. All of them quit. All of them said the same thing. "What thing?" Margaret leaned closer. Her voice dropped to a whisper. That something's wrong in this house. That the baby knows things he shouldn't know. That he looks at people like he can see through them. Maya frowned. He's 18 months old. I know what I heard. Margaret's eyes darted toward the door. And I know what I've seen. That child didn't come from Mrs. Ashford's body. She can't have babies. Medical condition? Broke her heart for years. Maya's sandwich froze halfway to her mouth. Then where did Isaiah come from? Margaret's face went pale. I've said too much. Margaret, just be careful. The old woman stood up. And if that baby ever reaches for you, if he ever chooses you, don't walk away. He needs someone real. Someone good. She paused at the door. Someone like you. She left before Maya could ask what she meant. The afternoon passed slowly. Maya cleaned bathrooms, vacuumed hallways, polished doorknobs. Normal work, invisible work. But her mind kept going back to Margaret's words. That child didn't come from Mrs. Ashford's body. Where did Isaiah come from? At 3 o'clock, Maya was cleaning the upstairs hallway when she heard footsteps behind her. You're Maya, correct? She turned. Richard Ashford stood there in a $3,000 suit, his phone in his hand, his eyes cold as winter. Yes, sir. My wife says you've been reliable, quiet. Mind your own business. I try to do my job well, sir. Good. He stepped closer. Maya could smell his cologne, something expensive that made her want to step back. I want to make sure we understand each other. This family values privacy above everything else. Whatever you see in this house, whatever you hear, it stays in this house. Forever. Of course, sir. I mean it. His voice dropped. People who talk about the Ashford family tend to regret it. People who ask questions tend to disappear. Maya's blood went cold. I understand, sir. Richard studied her face for a long moment. Then he nodded. Good. Get back to work. He walked away, his phone already at his ear. Yes, I'm still here. No, it's handled. Make sure those records stay buried. I don't care what it costs. Just make it happen. Maya's hands were trembling. She'd worked for rich people before. Rude people. Arrogant people. But she'd never felt afraid until now. Richard Ashford wasn't just rude. He was dangerous. At 4:30, Helen Morris arrived. Maya was dusting the hallway outside the nursery when the pediatrician walked in. She was a black woman in her 50s, no nonsense, with kind eyes and a firm voice. Victoria met her at the nursery door. Thank you for coming, Dr. Morris. He's getting worse. Let me see him. They went inside. Maya kept dusting, but she could hear every word. Victoria, I'm going to be direct with you. Dr. Morris's voice was grave. Isaiah has lost 2.5 pounds in 2 weeks. His body is starting to shut down. If he doesn't eat by this weekend, I'm admitting him to the hospital. I've tried everything. Have you tried holding him, actually holding him? Not hiring someone to do it, but doing it yourself. I hold him all the time. For how long? 5 minutes? 10 before you hand him off to a nanny or a housekeeper or anyone else. Dr. Morris paused. Children know when they're loved, Victoria. They know when they're wanted, and they know when they're not. Silence. Then Victoria's voice shaking with rage. How dare you? I love my son. Then prove it, because right now he's giving up, and I need to know why. Maya heard footsteps. She quickly turned back to her dusting. Victoria burst out of the nursery, tears streaming. She saw Maya and stopped. You? In here? Now? Maya's heart pounded as she entered the nursery. Dr. Morris stood by the crib holding Isaiah. The baby was limp in her arms, his eyes half closed. This is Maya, Victoria said stiffly. Our housekeeper. Isaiah seemed to respond to her once. I don't know why. Dr. Morris looked at Maya with interest. When was this? Yesterday, ma'am. He was crying and I picked him up. He stopped. May I? Dr. Morris held out Isaiah. Maya took him carefully, her arms wrapping around his tiny body. The change was immediate. Isaiah's eyes opened. He looked at Maya's face and something flickered in his expression. Recognition. Relief. His little hand reached up and grabbed her uniform. And then he did something he hadn't done in weeks. He smiled. Dr. Morris's eyebrows shot up. Well? Victoria's face went white. That doesn't mean anything. He's just confused. Victoria, I've been a pediatrician for 30 years. That's not confusion. That's a bond. Dr. Morris turned to Maya. Would you be willing to help with feeding times just until Isaiah stabilizes? Maya looked down at the baby in her arms. He was gazing up at her with those beautiful brown eyes, so trusting, so desperate for connection. Eyes that looked exactly like her sister Destiny's. Maya's breath caught. No, that was crazy. That was impossible. Yes, she heard herself say. I'll help. Victoria opened her mouth to argue, but Dr. Morris cut her off. This is non-negotiable. Your son's life is at stake. We can sort out the rest later. After the doctor left, Victoria cornered Maya in the hallway. Listen to me carefully. Her voice was ice. You will feed Isaiah 3 times a day. You will not take him out of this house. You will not discuss him with anyone. You will not ask questions about our family. And you will remember every single second that you are the help. Nothing more. Yes, ma'am. I'm watching you, Maya. Victoria leaned closer. One wrong move and you're gone. And trust me, you do not want to be on my bad side. She walked away, her heels clicking like bullets on the marble floor. Maya went back to the nursery. Isaiah was still in his crib, but this time he was sitting up watching the door. When he saw Maya, he pulled himself to his feet and reached for her. She picked him up and held him close. What's your story, little one? She whispered. Why do you feel like someone I know? Isaiah grabbed her finger and held on tight. That night, Maya couldn't sleep. She lay in her small apartment staring at a photo on her nightstand. Her and Destiny at the beach 5 years ago. 2 sisters, arms around each other, laughing at the camera. Destiny had disappeared 18 months ago. Called Maya once crying, saying she was in trouble. Wouldn't say what kind. And then she'd vanished. No note. No goodbye. Nothing. The police had searched. Maya had searched. Everyone said Destiny probably ran off somewhere, started over. But Maya knew her sister. Destiny wouldn't leave without saying goodbye. Something had happened to her. And now there was this baby. This beautiful little boy with brown eyes just like Destiny's. In a house full of secrets and lies. With parents who seemed more like captors than family. Maya picked up the photo and traced her finger over Destiny's face. Where are you? She whispered. What happened to you? The next morning, Maya arrived at the mansion an hour early. Victoria was already awake, pacing the foyer with her phone pressed to her ear. I don't care about the cost, Richard. I need you here. Isaiah is getting worse, and I can't do this alone. She saw Maya and quickly ended the call. You're early. I wanted to check on Isaiah, ma'am. Something flickered across Victoria's face. Jealousy, maybe, or fear. He's in the nursery. Natalie's replacement starts tomorrow, but until then... She waved her hand. Just keep him alive. Maya went upstairs. Isaiah was awake, standing in his crib, hands gripping the bars. The moment he saw her, his face transformed. Ma? He bounced on his feet. Ma. Maya froze. Was he trying to say, Ma? Isaiah reached for her, his voice stronger than she'd ever heard it. Ma. Her eyes burned with tears. She lifted him out of the crib and held him against her chest. I'm here, baby. I'm right here. In the kitchen, Maya warmed up oatmeal. Plain oatmeal with a little mashed banana. Simple food. Real food. Okay, sweet boy. Let's try this. She held up the spoon. Isaiah opened his mouth. He ate 7 spoonfuls. Then 8. Then 10. He ate until the bowl was empty. Maya was crying by the time he finished. She didn't even realize it until tears dripped onto Isaiah's head. Good boy? She whispered, wiping her face. Such a good boy. Isaiah looked up at her and smiled, oatmeal on his chin. Ma? The word broke her heart wide open. Later that morning, Maya was changing Isaiah's diaper when she saw it. A birthmark on his inner arm. Small. Shaped like a crescent moon. Her hand stopped moving. She knew that birthmark. She knew it because her sister Destiny had the exact same one. Same shape, same size, same location. Maya had seen it 1,000 times growing up. When they'd link arms walking to school. When they'd paint each other's nails. When Destiny fell asleep on her shoulder during movie nights. No, Maya whispered. That's impossible. But she couldn't stop staring at it. That perfect crescent moon. The exact same one Destiny had. Maya's mind raced. Destiny had disappeared 18 months ago. Isaiah was 18 months old. The timing matched exactly. Oh God. Maya pressed her hand to her mouth. Oh my God. Isaiah looked up at her, those brown eyes, so familiar, so much like Destiny's, and for the first time, Maya let herself see it. The shape of his nose, the curve of his lips, the way he tilted his head when he was curious. He looked like Destiny. He looked like her sister. "Who are you?" Maya whispered, her voice shaking. "Baby, who are you really?" Isaiah reached up and touched her face with his tiny hand. "Ma?" Maya heard footsteps in the hallway. She quickly finished changing Isaiah's diaper, but her hands were trembling so badly she could barely fasten the tabs. Victoria appeared in the doorway. "How is he?" "He ate breakfast, ma'am. 10 spoonfuls. Victoria's face registered shock, then something darker. "Really?" "Yes, ma'am." Victoria walked to the crib and looked down at Isaiah. The baby immediately started to fuss, turning away from her, reaching for Maya. "He won't even look at me." Victoria's voice cracked. "My own son won't look at me." Maya didn't know what to say. Victoria suddenly grabbed her arm, her nails digging in. "What did you do to him? How did you turn him against me?" "I didn't do anything, Mrs. Ashford. I just what?" Victoria's eyes were wild. "Just stole my son's love. Just made him choose you over his own mother." "Ma'am, please." "Get out." Victoria released her arm. "Get out of this room. I need time with my son, alone." Maya left her heart pounding. Behind her, she heard Isaiah start to scream. She stood in the hallway listening to that baby cry for her, and she knew. She knew something was terribly wrong in this house, and she knew that birthmark wasn't a coincidence. That evening, Maya stayed late to finish her work. The mansion grew quiet as everyone retreated to their rooms. Richard never came home. Victoria drank wine in the study until she passed out on the couch. At 10 o'clock, Maya was walking past Richard's office when she noticed the door was open. Light spilled out into the hallway. She could see papers scattered on his desk. Don't she told herself, "This is crazy. You could lose everything." But she thought about Isaiah, that birthmark, those eyes. She thought about Destiny, scared and crying, saying she was in trouble. Maya stepped into the office. Richard's computer was still on, displaying a spreadsheet of numbers. Files were piled everywhere. And there, right on top of the pile, was a folder labeled Private Adoption Records, Confidential. Maya's hands shook as she opened it. Medical forms, legal documents, bank statements. And then she saw it. Mother's name, Destiny Johnson. The room tilted. Maya grabbed the desk to keep from falling. Destiny, her sister, her baby sister who'd been missing for 18 months. Destiny was Isaiah's mother. Maya turned the pages frantically. Adoption agreement, signature of biological mother. But the signature was wrong. Maya had seen Destiny's handwriting 1,000 times. Birthday cards, grocery lists, the letter Destiny wrote when she graduated high school. This signature was close, but the S was wrong. The Y in Johnson looped the wrong way. Someone had forged it. Maya found the bank statement. Payment to Destiny Johnson, $50,000. But Destiny had never received that money. Maya had checked her sister's accounts dozens of times while searching for her. There was nothing. Not a single deposit. Someone had taken that money. Someone had forged Destiny's signature. Someone had stolen her baby. And that someone was Richard and Victoria Ashford. Maya heard a sound behind her. She spun around. Margaret stood in the doorway, her face pale as death. "You shouldn't be here." "Margaret, look at this." Maya held up the folder. "Destiny Johnson, that's my sister. My sister is Isaiah's mother." Margaret's eyes widened. "Your sister? She disappeared 18 months ago, right when Isaiah was born. They took him, Margaret. They stole my sister's baby." Margaret looked down the hallway, then back at Maya. "I knew something was wrong. I knew it from the beginning." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "There was a girl who worked here. Kitchen staff. Young. Black. Pretty. Mr. Ashford paid her too much attention." "What happened to her?" "She left suddenly. One day she was here, next day she was gone. Mrs. Ashford fired the whole kitchen staff that week, paid them off to keep quiet." Margaret's hands trembled. 3 months later, Mrs. Ashford announced she was pregnant, but I never saw her belly grow, never saw her sick, and then suddenly there was a baby. It was my sister. "Did?" Maya's voice broke. "They did something to her. They took her baby and they made her disappear." "You need to go." Margaret grabbed her arm. "Take those papers and go. If Richard finds you here, I'm not leaving without proof." Maya pulled out her phone and started photographing everything, every page, every document, every signature. She was halfway through when she heard footsteps on the stairs. Heavy footsteps. A man's footsteps. Margaret's face went white. "He's back! Richard's back!" Maya shoved her phone in her pocket and closed the folder. She made it to the door just as Richard appeared at the top of the stairs. He saw her. Their eyes met. Maya saw it happen the moment he realized she'd been in his office. The moment his face transformed from surprise to cold, calculated fury. "Maya." His voice was soft, dangerous. "What are you doing up here?" "Just finishing my work, sir. I was about to leave." Richard walked toward her slowly, each step deliberate, each step a threat. "My office door was open." "I didn't notice, sir." "Really?" He stopped inches from her face. "Because I could have sworn I saw you coming out of it." Maya's heart hammered against her ribs. "I was just walking past, sir, that's all." Richard studied her face for a long, terrible moment. Then he smiled. It was the most frightening thing Maya had ever seen. "Go home, Maya. Get some rest." He stepped aside to let her pass. "You have a big day tomorrow, taking care of my son." Maya walked past him, every nerve in her body screaming. She made it to the stairs, to the front door, to her car. Her hands shook so badly she could barely get the key in the ignition. She drove 3 blocks before she had to pull over because she was crying too hard to see. Destiny, her baby sister, pregnant and scared and alone, and these monsters had taken everything from her. Maya pulled out her phone. The photos were still there. Every document, every piece of evidence. Her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "We know what you took. We know where you live. Walk away now or you'll end up like your sister." Maya stared at the message, her blood turning to ice. They knew. They already knew. She looked back at the mansion on the hill, its windows glowing like eyes in the darkness. "Walk away," the message said. But Maya thought about Isaiah. That beautiful little boy with Destiny's eyes. Trapped in that house with people who'd destroyed his mother to get him. She thought about Destiny alone and scared, calling her one last time before she vanished. "I'm in trouble, Maya. Bad trouble." "What kind of trouble? I can't tell you, just... If anything happens to me, I love you. I've always loved you." That was the last time Maya ever heard her sister's voice. Maya wiped her tears and started the car. She wasn't walking away. Not from Isaiah. Not from the truth about Destiny. Whatever these people had done, whatever secrets they were hiding, she was going to find out, and she was going to make them pay, even if it cost her everything, even if it cost her life, because some things were worth dying for. Family was worth dying for. And that little boy in that mansion with his mother's eyes and his mother's birthmark was her family, the only family she had left. Maya didn't go home that night. She drove to a 24-hour diner on the edge of town and sat in a corner booth, her phone on the table, staring at that threatening message until the words blurred. "We know what you took. We know where you live. Walk away now or you'll end up like your sister." End up like your sister. What did that mean? Was Destiny dead? Was she alive somewhere, trapped? Silenced? Maya's hands wouldn't stop shaking. She ordered coffee she didn't drink. The waitress refilled her cup 3 times and finally stopped asking if she was okay. At 2:47 a.m., her phone rang. "Unknown number." Maya answered. "Who is this?" "My name is David Park." The voice was calm, measured. "I'm a private investigator. Your sister Destiny hired me 2 months before she disappeared." Maya almost dropped the phone. "What? I've been looking for her ever since. Tonight I got an alert that someone accessed Richard Ashford's private files. Files connected to my investigation." He paused. "That was you, wasn't it?" "How do you know that?" "Because I've had digital surveillance on Ashford's systems for 6 months. I saw everything you photographed, including the adoption papers with your sister's forged signature." Maya pressed her hand against her mouth. She couldn't breathe. "Ms. Johnson, I need to meet with you tonight. There are things you need to know about what happened to Destiny." "Tell me now." "Not on the phone. The Ashfords have connections everywhere. Police, judges, phone companies." His voice dropped. "Meet me at the parking garage on 5th and Main. Top level, 1 hour." The line went dead. Maya sat there for a long moment. This could be a trap. The Ashfords could have sent this man to lure her somewhere isolated. But what choice did she have? She left $20 on the table and walked out into the cold night air. The parking garage was empty at 4 a.m. Maya drove to the top level and parked under a flickering light. Her heart pounded so hard she could feel it in her throat. A black sedan pulled up beside her. A man got out, Asian mid-40s wearing a plain jacket and tired eyes. He walked to her car and tapped on the window. Maya rolled it down halfway. "Ms. Johnson, thank you for coming." "How do I know you're who you say you are?" David Park reached into his jacket. Maya tensed, but he only pulled out a photograph. It was Destiny, sitting in what looked like an office papers spread in front of her, her face tight with fear. She was pregnant. Very pregnant. "I took this picture 8 weeks before she disappeared." David's voice was quiet. "She came to me because she was terrified. She said the father of her baby was a powerful man who wanted to take her child. She said he'd threatened to destroy her if she didn't cooperate. Maya took the photograph with trembling hands. Richard Ashford. Yes. Destiny worked in his kitchen. He pursued her for months. When she got pregnant, he told her she had two choices. Give up the baby and disappear with $50,000, or he would make sure she never saw the child anyway and she'd get nothing. Destiny would never give up her baby. She didn't. David leaned against her car. She hired me to gather evidence against him. She wanted to fight. She wanted to keep her son and expose what Richard had done. He paused. And then one night, she vanished. Maya's vision blurred with tears. What happened to her? I don't know. I've spent 18 months trying to find out. Every lead goes cold. Every witness suddenly can't remember anything. Richard Ashford has friends in high places. Ms. Johnson, police captains, district attorneys, people who owe him favors. So he just got away with it. He just took her baby and made her disappear, and nobody did anything. Nobody could prove anything. David reached into his pocket and pulled out a card. But now we have those documents you photographed, the forged signature, the bank records. If we can prove the adoption was fraudulent, we can unravel everything. Maya looked at the card. David Park, private investigator. Why should I trust you? Because I made your sister a promise. David's voice cracked slightly. I promised her I would protect her. I failed, but I can still protect her son, and I can help you find the truth about what happened to her. Maya looked at the photograph of Destiny again. Her sister's eyes were full of fear, but also determination. Even terrified Destiny had been willing to fight. Maya owed her that same courage. What do we do? First, we need more evidence. The documents you have prove the signature was forged, but we need to connect it directly to Richard. We need witnesses, records, something that proves he orchestrated this. Margaret. Maya sat up straighter. The housekeeper. She's been there for 20 years. She knows things. Can you get her to talk? I can try. David nodded. Be careful. The Ashfords will be watching you now. They know you're a threat. He handed her a burner phone. Use this to contact me. Your regular phone is probably already compromised. Maya took the phone. What about the police? The local police are in Ashford's pocket, but there's a detective I know in the State Bureau. Honest, incorruptible. If we get enough evidence, she can help us. And Isaiah, David's expression softened. That little boy is an innocent victim in all this. Whatever happens, we need to protect him. He's my nephew. Maya's voice broke. He's all I have left of my sister. Then let's make sure he ends up where he belongs, with family who actually loves him. Maya drove home as the sun rose over Greenwich. She showered, changed clothes, and tried to eat something. The food tasted like cardboard. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. At 6:30 a.m., she drove back to the Ashford mansion. Victoria was waiting in the foyer. You're late. Maya checked her watch. She was actually early. I'm sorry, ma'am. Traffic was... I don't want excuses. Victoria's eyes were red-rimmed, her face pale. Isaiah had a terrible night. He cried for hours. Nothing would calm him down. I'll go check on him. Wait. Victoria grabbed her arm. Her grip was too tight, her nails digging in. My husband told me something interesting last night. He said he saw you near his office. Maya's heart stopped. I was just cleaning the hallway, ma'am. Were you? Victoria's eyes searched her face. Because Richard seems to think you were doing more than cleaning. I don't know what you mean. Let me be very clear. Victoria leaned closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. If you're hiding something, if you're planning something, I will find out. And when I do, I will destroy you. I will make sure you never work again. I will make sure everyone knows you're a thief and a liar. Do you understand me? Yes, ma'am. Victoria released her arm. Good. Now go take care of my son. Maya walked up the stairs, her legs barely holding her. Her arm throbbed where Victoria had grabbed her. They knew. They suspected. It was only a matter of time before they found out everything. Isaiah was standing in his crib when she entered the nursery. His face was tear-stained, his eyes exhausted, but the moment he saw Maya, he reached for her. Mama! She lifted him up and held him tight. His little arms wrapped around her neck. I'm here, baby. I'm right here. Isaiah pressed his face against her shoulder and finally relaxed. Maya carried him to the window and looked out at the manicured grounds below. Somewhere out there, her sister had walked these same halls, had looked out this same window, had carried this same baby inside her. I'm going to find her, Maya whispered to Isaiah. I'm going to find your mama, I promise. Isaiah looked up at her with Destiny's eyes. Ma, he said softly. Maya's heart shattered into a million pieces. At 10 a.m., Maya found Margaret in the laundry room. The old woman was folding sheets, her movements slow and careful. She looked up when Maya entered and immediately looked away. I can't talk to you. Margaret, please. I know you're scared. I'm scared too, but I need your help. You don't understand. Margaret's voice trembled. I've seen what happens to people who cross the Ashfords. I've seen good people destroyed, careers ruined, families torn apart. My sister was one of those people. Margaret's hands stopped moving. Destiny Johnson, that was her name. She worked here, and now she's gone. Maya stepped closer. Margaret, please. You knew her. You saw what happened. You're the only one who can help me. The old woman was silent for a long moment. Then she looked up, and Maya saw tears in her eyes. She was so young, so scared. Margaret's voice was barely a whisper. She came to me once in the kitchen crying. She said Mr. Ashford that he had... She couldn't finish. I know what he did. She wanted to keep the baby. She loved that child before it was even born, but they told her she had no choice. They told her if she didn't sign the papers and disappear, they would make sure she never saw the baby anyway. Did she sign? I don't know. One day she was here and the next. Margaret shook her head. They told us she quit. They told us she took the money and left. But I saw her face the last time I saw her. That wasn't the face of someone about to start a new life. That was the face of someone who knew something terrible was about to happen. Where did she go? I don't know, but... Margaret hesitated. There's a man, Marcus Cole. He works for Mr. Ashford sometimes. Security, they call him, but everyone knows what he really does. He handles problems, makes them go away. Maya's blood went cold. You think he did something to Destiny? I think your sister was a problem, and I think Mr. Ashford paid Marcus Cole to make her go away. Maya felt sick. Where can I find this Marcus Cole? I don't know, but there are records. Mr. Ashford keeps files on everyone he pays, in his safe. Margaret's eyes widened. Not the office safe, the one in the basement, behind the wine rack. How do you know this? Because I've been cleaning this house for 20 years. I know where all the bodies are buried. Margaret grabbed Maya's hand. But please be careful. If they catch you, I know. No, you don't. Margaret's grip tightened. People who threaten the Ashfords don't just lose their jobs. They disappear, just like your sister. At 2 p.m., Victoria announced she was leaving for a spa appointment. I'll be back by 6. Richard is working from home today, so don't disturb him. Maya nodded, her heart racing. Richard was home? That made everything more dangerous. She fed Isaiah his lunch and put him down for his nap. Then she waited. At 2:45, she heard Richard's office door open. Footsteps going down the hallway. The bathroom door closing. This was her chance. Maya moved quickly through the house down the back stairs to the basement. The wine cellar was dark and cold. Hundreds of bottles lined the walls. Margaret had said behind the wine rack, but which one Maya started checking, pushing against the wooden frames looking for anything loose or hollow. Third rack from the left. It moved. Behind it was a steel door with a keypad lock. Maya stared at it. She didn't have the code. There was no way to... Her phone buzzed, the burner phone David had given her. I'm tracking your location. You're in the basement. What are you doing? Looking for evidence. There's a safe behind the wine rack. I need the code. Silence. Then typing sounds. Try 715, Victoria's birthday. Maya punched in the numbers. Red light. Didn't work. More typing. Try 0422, Richard's mother's birthday. Red light again. No. Okay, one more. 1109, the date they announced Isaiah's adoption. Maya held her breath and entered the numbers. Green light. The door clicked open. Inside the safe were dozens of files. Cash, a handgun, and a folder labeled Marcus Cole, Contractor Payments. Maya grabbed it and opened it with shaking hands. Payment records, dates, amounts. And there on the third page a note in Richard's handwriting. DJ situation handled. Full payment upon confirmation of silence. DJ Destiny Johnson. Maya photographed everything, every page, every document. At the bottom of the folder was a photograph. Destiny, unconscious, lying in what looked like a van. The timestamp was from 18 months ago, the night she disappeared. Maya's knees gave out. She slid down the wall, the photograph clutched in her hands, silent sobs racking her body. They had taken her. Richard had paid someone to take her sister. But the photographs showed Destiny unconscious, not dead. That meant she might still be alive. Maya heard a sound above her. Footsteps, coming toward the basement stairs. She shoved the files back into the safe, closed the door, and pushed the wine rack back into place. Then she ran for the service entrance. She made it outside just as Richard's voice echoed from the top of the stairs. "Hello, is someone down there?" Maya pressed herself against the wall, not breathing, not moving. Footsteps on the stairs. Richard was coming down. She slipped around the corner of the house and walked quickly to the kitchen entrance, trying to look calm, trying to look like she belonged. "Maya." She froze. Victoria was standing by her car, spa bag in hand. "I thought you were leaving, ma'am." "I forgot my phone." Victoria's eyes narrowed. "What are you doing outside?" "Just getting some fresh air. Isaiah is napping." Victoria stared at her for a long moment. Maya could see the suspicion in her eyes, the calculation. "Get back inside, now." "Yes, ma'am." Maya walked back into the house, her heart hammering. That was too close. Way too close. That night, Maya met David in the parking garage again. She showed him the photographs, the payment records, the picture of Destiny unconscious in the van. David's face went pale. "This is it. This is enough to bring him down." "But it's not enough to find her." Maya's voice broke. "David, where is she? What did they do with her?" "I don't know yet, but Marcus Cole does." "Shiz." David studied the payment records. "There's a pattern here. Regular payments every month for 18 months. Richard is still paying him." "For what?" "I don't know, but if Marcus is still on the payroll, he's still doing something for Richard. Something ongoing. Like keeping someone quiet. Or keeping someone hidden." Hope surged in Maya's chest. "You think she's alive?" "I think there's a chance, and I think Marcus Cole is the key to finding her." "How do we find him?" "I've been tracking him for months. He's careful, moves around a lot." David pulled out his phone. "But tomorrow night he has a meeting scheduled at a warehouse on Industrial Road. My sources say he'll be there at 10. "I'm coming with you." "Absolutely not. This man is dangerous, Maya. He's hurt people, maybe killed people. I can't put you at risk." "That's my sister." Maya grabbed his arm. "I've been waiting 18 months to find out what happened to her. I'm not sitting at home while you talk to the man who took her." David looked at her for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. "Okay, but you stay in the car. You don't approach him unless I say it's safe. Understood?" "Understood." The next morning, everything fell apart. Maya arrived at the mansion at 6:30, same as always. But something was different. The energy in the house was wrong, sharp, dangerous. Victoria was waiting in the foyer. Richard stood beside her, and on the table between them was Maya's personal phone. "Care to explain this?" Victoria held up the phone. On the screen were the photographs Maya had taken in Richard's office. The adoption papers, the forged signature. Maya's blood turned to ice. "We have security cameras, Maya. Did you really think we wouldn't see you sneaking into my husband's office, into our basement?" Victoria's voice shook with rage. "We gave you a chance. We let you into our home, and this is how you repay us?" "Mrs. Ashford." "Shut up." Victoria slammed the phone on the table. "You're a thief, a liar, and you're going to pay for this." Richard stepped forward. His face was calm. Too calm. "Maya, I'm going to give you one chance. Tell us who you're working with. Tell us what you've done with those photographs. And maybe, just maybe, we won't press charges." "I don't know what you're talking about." "Really?" Richard pulled out his own phone. "Because I have records of you meeting with someone in a parking garage. Twice. Who is he, police FBI reporter?" Maya said nothing. Richard smiled that cold, terrible smile. "It doesn't matter. Whoever he is, we'll find him. Just like we found out about you." He nodded to someone behind Maya. "Get her out of here." 2 security guards appeared. They grabbed Maya's arms. "Wait." Maya struggled against them. "Isaiah needs me. He won't eat for anyone else." "We'll manage." Victoria's voice was ice. "We managed before you. We'll manage after." "He's not your son." The words exploded out of Maya before she could stop them. "He was never your son. You stole him. You stole him from my sister." The room went dead silent. Victoria's face went white. Richard's eyes narrowed. "What did you say?" "Destiny Johnson." Maya's voice shook with rage and grief. "That was her name. She worked in your kitchen. Your husband got her pregnant, and when she refused to give up her baby, you took him anyway. You forged her signature. You paid someone to make her disappear." Victoria looked at Richard. Something passed between them. Fear, recognition, guilt. "She's lying," Victoria whispered. "She's making this up. Isaiah has a birthmark on his arm." Maya was crying now. "A crescent moon? My sister had the exact same one, same shape, same size, same place. He's Destiny's son, and I'm going to prove it." Richard stepped toward her. His face was no longer calm. It was murderous. "You have no idea what you're doing. No idea who you're threatening. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm taking my nephew back, and I'm finding out what you did to my sister." Richard leaned close. His breath was hot on her face. "Your sister made a choice. She could have taken the money and walked away, but she wanted to fight. She wanted to expose me." His voice dropped to a whisper. "Do you know what happens to people who try to expose me, Maya? Is that a confession? It's a warning." He straightened up. "Get her out, and call our lawyers. I want a restraining order filed by noon." The guards dragged Maya toward the door. "Isaiah!" she screamed. "Isaiah, I'll come back for you, I promise." From upstairs, she heard it. Isaiah's voice crying, screaming for her. "Ma, ma, ma!" The sound tore through her heart like a knife. They threw her out the front door. She landed on the gravel driveway, her knees scraping against the stones. The door slammed behind her. Maya lay there for a moment gasping, crying, her whole body shaking. Then she pulled herself up and walked to her car. Inside, she sat behind the wheel and screamed. She screamed until her throat was raw, until she had no breath left, until the rage and grief consumed her completely. Then she called David. "They know. They found the photos. They threw me out." "Are you safe?" "I don't know. They mentioned lawyers, restraining order." "Get to my office now. We need to move up our timeline." Maya started the car. As she drove away, she looked in the rearview mirror. Richard Ashford stood in the window of his mansion watching her leave. His face was expressionless, but his eyes were cold with promise. This wasn't over, for either of them. It was just beginning. David's office was a small room above a dry cleaner's shop. Maya sat on a worn couch while David paced his phone pressed to his ear. "Yes, I understand. No, we can't wait. We need to move tonight." He listened. "I know it's risky, but if we don't act now, they'll destroy everything. They'll send the boy somewhere we'll never find him." Another pause. "Okay, I'll call you back." He hung up and turned to Maya. "That was my contact at the State Bureau, Detective Sarah Mitchell. She's willing to help, but she needs solid evidence. Something that directly connects Richard to Destiny's disappearance." "We have the payment records, the photograph of Destiny in the van." "That's circumstantial. Richard's lawyers will say Marcus Cole acted alone. They'll say Richard didn't know what Marcus was doing with the money." David sat down heavily. "We need Marcus Cole to talk. We need him to confirm that Richard gave the orders." "Tonight, the warehouse." "Yes." David looked at her. "But Maya, I need to warn you. If Marcus doesn't cooperate, if he decides to go to Richard instead of helping us, then we're dead. Maybe worse." Maya thought about Isaiah. That little boy trapped in that mansion crying for her. She thought about Destiny unconscious in that photograph being taken to God knows where. "I don't care. I'm not stopping." David nodded slowly. "Then we do this together, tonight." Industrial Road was exactly what it sounded like. Abandoned warehouses, empty lots, the kind of place where bad things happened and nobody asked questions. Maya sat in David's car, her heart pounding. The warehouse across the street was dark except for a single light in the upper window. "He's in there." David checked his phone. "My source confirmed. Marcus Cole. Alone." "What's the plan?" "I go in, I talk to him, I offer him a deal, protection and money in exchange for testimony against Richard. And if he says no, then we go to Plan B." "What's Plan B?" David didn't answer. He just handed her a small recording device. "Stay here. Keep this running. If something goes wrong, you take this to Detective Mitchell. You tell her everything." "David? Promise me, Maya, if I don't come out in 20 minutes, you drive away and you don't look back." Maya took the recorder. "I promise." David got out of the car and walked toward the warehouse. Maya watched him disappear inside. The minutes crawled by. 5, 10, 15. At 18 minutes, Maya heard a gunshot. She was out of the car before she could think, running toward the warehouse, through the door, up the stairs. She found them on the second floor. David was on the ground, bleeding from his shoulder. Marcus Cole stood over him, gun in hand. "Stop!" Maya screamed. Marcus spun toward her. He was big, muscular, with cold eyes that showed nothing. Who the hell are you? My name is Maya Johnson. Destiny Johnson was my sister. Something flickered in Marcus's eyes. Recognition. And something else. Something that might have been guilt. You need to leave. Now. Not until you tell me what you did to her. Marcus laughed. It was a bitter, broken sound. What I did, I saved her life. That's what I did. Maya froze. What? Richard Ashford paid me to make her disappear. Permanently. Marcus lowered the gun slightly. But when I went to do it, she was holding her belly, talking to her baby, telling him she loved him, telling him she would always protect him. His voice cracked. I have a daughter, same age as your sister. I couldn't do it. I couldn't kill a pregnant woman. So what did you do? I took the money, I told Richard the job was done, and I hid your sister somewhere he would never find her. Maya's knees went weak. She's alive. Last time I checked, 8 months ago. Marcus looked at her. She's been hiding ever since. Too scared to come back. Too scared to fight. Where is she? I can't tell you that. Please. Maya's voice broke. Please, she's my sister. Her son needs her. I need her. Marcus stared at her for a long moment. Then he looked at David, still bleeding on the floor. Your friend needs a hospital. I know. Please, Marcus, just tell me where she is. I'll handle the rest. The silence stretched on forever. Then Marcus reached into his pocket and pulled out a piece of paper. There's a farmhouse, upstate New York, near the Canadian border. He handed her the paper. She's been there for 18 months, alone, afraid, waiting for someone to tell her it's safe to come home. Maya took the paper with shaking hands. Why are you helping me? Because I'm tired. Marcus's voice was heavy with exhaustion. Tired of working for men like Richard Ashford, tired of making people disappear, tired of looking at myself in the mirror. He holstered his gun. Get your friend to a hospital, and get your sister out of that farmhouse, because when Richard finds out I betrayed him, he's going to send someone else. Someone who won't have a daughter, someone who won't hesitate. Maya helped David to his feet. His face was pale with pain, but he was conscious. Can you walk? I'll manage. They made it to the car. Maya drove as fast as she dared, one hand on the wheel, the other pressing David's jacket against his wound. Hospital is 10 minutes away. No, David's voice was weak but firm. No hospitals. They'll ask questions, file reports. You're bleeding. I know a doctor, off the books. Turn left at the next light. Maya turned. Her hands were covered in David's blood. Her mind was racing. Destiny was alive. Her sister was alive. The farmhouse was 6 hours away. 6 hours and she could see her sister again. Hold her. Tell her she wasn't alone anymore. But first she had to keep David alive. And she had to figure out how to get Isaiah out of that mansion. Because Marcus was right. When Richard found out, he would send someone else. And this time, they wouldn't hesitate. The doctor's name was Chen. He worked out of a basement apartment in Chinatown, no questions asked, cash only. Maya helped David down the narrow stairs while Dr. Chen prepared his instruments. The old man didn't even blink at the gunshot wound. Bullet went through clean, no major arteries. He'll live. Maya collapsed into a chair, her hands still covered in David's blood. The piece of paper Marcus had given her was crumpled in her fist. She hadn't let go of it since they left the warehouse. How long until he can move? 2 days minimum? Maybe 3. I don't have 3 days. Dr. Chen looked at her over his glasses. Then you go alone. He stays. David grabbed Maya's arm. His face was gray with pain, but his eyes were sharp. Don't wait for me. Go find your sister. I'll catch up. David, listen to me. His grip tightened. Richard Ashford knows something went wrong tonight. When Marcus doesn't check in, he's going to know he's been betrayed. He'll send someone to that farmhouse. You need to get there first. Maya looked at the address. 6 hours away, middle of nowhere. What about Isaiah? One thing at a time. Find Destiny first. She's the key to everything. Without her testimony, without her presence, we have nothing. Maya stood up. Her whole body was shaking with exhaustion and fear and something else. Hope. Desperate, fragile hope. I'll call you when I find her. Be careful, and Maya. David's voice softened. When you see your sister, tell her Marcus kept his word. Tell her she's not alone anymore. Maya drove through the night. The roads got darker and emptier the further north she went. Connecticut gave way to Massachusetts, then Vermont, then the vast emptiness of upstate New York. At 3:47 a.m., her phone rang. Unknown number. Maya answered, her heart pounding. Hello? Ms. Johnson? Richard Ashford's voice was cold and controlled. I understand you had an interesting evening. Maya's blood turned to ice. How did you get this number? I have resources you can't imagine. I know where you are right now. I know where you're going, and I know why. Then you know I'm going to find my sister. Silence. Then Richard laughed. Your sister made her choice 18 months ago. She could have taken the money. She could have walked away. But she wanted to fight. She wanted to expose me. His voice hardened. Do you know what happens to people who try to expose me? Is that a threat? It's a fact. Turn around, Ms. Johnson. Go home. Forget about Destiny. Forget about Isaiah. Forget about everything you think you know. Or what? Or you'll disappear too, just like your sister was supposed to. The line went dead. Maya's hands were shaking so badly she almost drove off the road. She pulled over and sat there gasping, her heart slamming against her ribs. Richard knew. He knew about Marcus. He knew about the farmhouse. She had to move faster. Maya pressed the accelerator to the floor. At 5:15 a.m., she stopped for gas at a truck stop near the Canadian border. Her eyes burned from exhaustion. Her whole body ached. But she couldn't stop now, not when she was so close. She went inside to pay and use the bathroom. When she came out, there was a black SUV parked next to her car. Two men stood beside it, big, muscular, watching her. Maya's heart stopped. She walked toward her car, slowly trying to stay calm, trying not to run. The men didn't move. They just watched. She got in her car, started the engine, pulled out of the parking lot. The SUV followed. Maya drove faster. The SUV matched her speed. She turned onto a side road. The SUV turned too. They were following her. Richard's men. They knew exactly where she was going. Maya grabbed her phone and called David. They're following me. Two men in a black SUV? How far are you from the farmhouse? Maybe 20 minutes. You need to lose them. If they follow you to Destiny? I know. Maya's mind raced. She knew these roads. She'd studied the map during the drive. There was a turnoff ahead, a dirt road that led into the woods. If she could get enough distance? She floored the accelerator. Her car shot forward, engine screaming. The SUV fell back for a moment, then surged to catch up. Maya saw the turnoff and yanked the wheel. Her car skidded onto the dirt road tires, throwing up clouds of dust. She drove blind for 30 seconds, praying she wouldn't hit a tree. When the dust cleared, she looked in her mirror. The SUV had missed the turn. It was still on the main road, brake lights flashing. Maya didn't slow down. She kept driving through the woods until she found another road that connected to the highway. Then she doubled back, taking a different route to the farmhouse. At 6:23 a.m., she saw it, a small farmhouse at the end of a dirt road surrounded by trees, just like Marcus had described. Maya parked her car and got out. The morning air was cold and sharp. Birds were singing somewhere in the woods. She walked toward the house. Her legs barely holding her, the front door was locked. Maya knocked. No answer. She knocked again, harder. Destiny? Destiny, it's me. It's Maya. Please open the door. Silence. Maya pressed her forehead against the door. Please, baby, please. I've been looking for you for 18 months. I know you're scared. I know you're hiding. But I'm here now. I'm right here, and I'm not leaving without you. Nothing. Maya's heart broke. Maybe Marcus had lied. Maybe Destiny had already run. Maybe... The lock clicked. The door opened slowly. And there she was. Destiny, thin and pale and hollow-eyed. Her hair was longer than Maya remembered. Her face was older. But it was her. It was really her. Maya? The word came out like a whisper, like a prayer. It's me. Maya's voice broke. It's me, baby. I found you. Destiny stared at her for a long moment. Then her face crumpled and she collapsed into Maya's arms. They stood in the doorway, holding each other, sobbing. 18 months of fear and grief and loneliness poured out of them both. Maya held her sister so tight she could barely breathe. Terrified that if she let go, Destiny would disappear again. I'm sorry. Destiny's voice was muffled against Maya's shoulder. I'm so sorry. I wanted to come home. I wanted to call you, but they said if I did, they would kill you. They said they would find me and finish what they started. It's okay. It's okay. I'm here now. I've got you. My baby. Destiny pulled back. Her eyes wild with panic. Maya, my baby. They took him. Richard and Victoria took my son. I know. You know? His name is Isaiah. He's 18 months old. He has your eyes and your birthmark, and he's beautiful, Destiny. He's so beautiful." Destiny's knees gave out. Maya caught her and lowered her to the floor. "You've seen him? I've been taking care of him for weeks. He wouldn't eat for anyone else, Destiny, but he ate for me." Maya cupped her sister's face in her hands. "He knows, baby. He knows you're out there somewhere. He's been waiting for you." Destiny broke down completely. Her whole body shook with sobs. "I never stopped loving him. Every single day, every single night. I sang to him even though he couldn't hear me. I talked to him even though he was hundreds of miles away." I know. "They told me I had to give him up. Richard said if I didn't sign the papers, he would make sure I never saw my baby anyway. He said he would destroy me, destroy you, destroy everyone I loved." "So why didn't you sign?" Destiny looked up at her, tears streaming down her face. "Because he was mine. My son, my blood. I carried him for 9 months. I felt him kick. I heard his heartbeat." Her voice hardened. "I would have died before I let Richard Ashford take him from me." "But they took him anyway." "They tried." Destiny wiped her eyes. "The night they came for me, I was supposed to die. Marcus Cole was supposed to kill me and bury me somewhere nobody would ever find. But he didn't. He looked at me, looked at my belly, and he couldn't do it. He told me. He said you reminded him of his daughter. He gave me money, drove me to this farmhouse, told me to stay hidden and never contact anyone from my old life." Destiny's voice dropped to a whisper. "So I did. For 18 months I've been here, alone, watching the news, hoping to see something about Richard being arrested, praying that someone would find the truth. Someone did." Maya took her sister's hands. "I have evidence, payment records, photographs, proof that the adoption was fraudulent, that your signature was forged, and I have a private investigator and a state detective who are ready to help us." Hope flickered in Destiny's eyes. "Help us do what?" "Take Richard Ashford down. Get Isaiah back, and make sure you never have to hide again." The sound of a car engine shattered the moment. Maya ran to the window. The black SUV was coming up the dirt road. "They found us." Destiny's face went white. "Who? Richard's men. They've been following me." Maya grabbed her sister's arm. "Is there a back way out?" "Through the kitchen. There's a door that leads to the woods." They ran, through the kitchen, out the back door, into the trees. Behind them, Maya heard car doors slamming, men's voices shouting. "This way." Destiny led her through the woods, moving fast despite her thin frame. "There's an old hunting cabin about a mile from here. Marcus showed it to me when he first brought me here, emergency escape route." They ran until Maya's lungs burned, until her legs screamed for rest, until she couldn't hear the men's voices anymore. The cabin was small and hidden, tucked into a ravine and covered with overgrown vines. Destiny pulled open the door and they stumbled inside. "We should be safe here, for a little while." Maya collapsed against the wall, gasping. Her phone buzzed. Text from David. "State police alerted. Detective Mitchell mobilizing team. ETA 2 hours. Stay hidden." 2 hours. They had to stay hidden for 2 hours. "Maya?" Destiny's voice was steady now, stronger. "Tell me about my son. Tell me everything." Maya looked at her sister. Despite everything, despite the fear and exhaustion and danger, Destiny's eyes were bright with love. "He's perfect. He's the most beautiful little boy I've ever seen. He has your smile, Destiny. When he's happy, really happy, he gets these dimples just like you used to." Destiny laughed through her tears. "Our grandmother had those dimples." "I know, and he's smart. So smart. He watches everything, takes everything in, like he's trying to figure out how the world works." "Does he talk?" "A little. He says one word more than any other." Maya's voice cracked. "He calls me Ma. I think he was calling for you, all this time. He was calling for his real mother." Destiny pressed her hand against her mouth, sobbing. "And Victoria, Richard, how do they treat him?" Maya hesitated. "They see him as property, something they own. Victoria loves him in her own way, I think, but Richard..." She shook her head. "Richard looks at him like an investment, like something he paid for and expects a return on." "I hate them." Destiny's voice was low and fierce. "I hate them so much." "Good. Use that hate. Because we're going to need every bit of fight you have left." "What do you mean, Maya showed her the text from David. "We have evidence, but we need your testimony to make it stick. You're the biological mother. You can prove the adoption was fraud. You can prove Richard coerced you and tried to have you killed. I'll testify. I'll stand up in court and tell everyone what he did to me. It won't be easy. Richard has lawyers, connections, money. He's going to fight with everything he has. I don't care. Destiny grabbed Maya's hands. I've spent 18 months hiding, 18 months being afraid. I'm done. I want my son back, and I want Richard Ashford to pay for what he did. Maya squeezed her hands. Then let's make it happen. The 2 hours passed slowly. They talked. About everything. About the 18 months they'd lost. About their mother, who died not knowing what happened to Destiny. About Maya's children, grown now and living their own lives. About Isaiah, that beautiful little boy who needed his family. At 9:15 a.m., Maya's phone rang. We're approaching your location. Detective Sarah Mitchell's voice was crisp and professional. We have the men in custody. They've been identified as private security contractors hired by Richard Ashford. What about Richard? We're executing a warrant on the Ashford residence as we speak. We have enough evidence to bring him in for questioning. And Isaiah, Child Protective Services is on standby. Once we have Richard in custody, they'll assess the situation with the child. Maya looked at Destiny. We're coming out. Both of us. Both? I found my sister. She's ready to testify. Silence. Then, understood. We'll be waiting. They emerged from the cabin to find 3 state police cars and a van parked on the dirt road. Detective Mitchell was a tall black woman with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor. Destiny Johnson. Destiny nodded, clinging to Maya's arm. I'm Detective Sarah Mitchell. I've been working with David Park for the past 6 months building a case against Richard Ashford. Your testimony is going to be crucial. I'll tell you everything. Good. Let's get you somewhere safe first. They drove back to Connecticut in a police convoy. Destiny sat in the back seat with Maya, their hands intertwined. I'm scared, Destiny whispered. I know, me too. What if it doesn't work? What if Richard gets away with it? What if I never get Isaiah back? Maya squeezed her hand. Then we keep fighting. We keep pushing. We don't stop until that little boy is back where he belongs. Destiny rested her head on Maya's shoulder. I missed you so much. I missed you too, baby, every single day. At 2:30 p.m., they arrived at the state police headquarters. David was already there, his shoulder bandaged, his face pale but determined. He stood up when Destiny walked in. Ms. Johnson, it's good to finally meet you in person. You've been looking for all this time. I made you a promise. I said I would protect you. He looked down. I failed, but I'm going to make it right. Destiny walked up to him and hugged him. David froze for a moment, then hugged her back. Thank you for not giving up. Detective Mitchell led them into a conference room where lawyers and investigators were waiting. Here's the situation. Richard Ashford was taken into custody an hour ago. His lawyers are already screaming about wrongful arrest and police harassment, but we have enough evidence to hold him for 48 hours. What about Victoria? She's not being charged yet, but she's cooperating. Apparently Richard kept her in the dark about a lot of things. Mitchell paused. Including what really happened to you, Ms. Johnson. She didn't know. According to her statement, Richard told her you took the money and left willingly, that you signed the papers and disappeared to start a new life. That's a lie. We know, and now we can prove it. Mitchell spread documents across the table. Payment records to Marcus Cole. The forged signature on your adoption consent. Phone records showing Richard's calls to illegal contacts on the night you disappeared. What about Isaiah? Child Protective Services has taken temporary custody. Victoria is allowed supervised visits, but given the circumstances, I want to see him. Destiny's voice was sharp. I want to see my son. That can be arranged. But first we need your formal statement. Everything that happened from the beginning. Can you do that? Destiny looked at Maya. Maya nodded. Yes, I can do that. The statement took 4 hours. Destiny told them everything. How she'd gotten the job in the Ashford kitchen. How Richard had flattered her, pursued her, made her feel special. How things had changed when she got pregnant. He said I had 2 choices. Take $50,000 and sign away my rights, or he would make sure I never saw my baby anyway. Her voice trembled but didn't break. I told him no. I told him I would fight him. I told him I would tell everyone what he did. And what did he say? He laughed. He said nobody would believe a black woman from the projects over a billionaire. He said I should take the money while I still could. She paused. 3 days later, Marcus Cole came to my apartment. What happened? He told me Richard had changed his mind. He said Richard didn't want me around anymore. Not alive, anyway. A single tear rolled down her cheek. He put me in a van. I thought I was going to die. But then we stopped, and he looked at me and he said he couldn't do it. He said he had a daughter my age and he couldn't live with himself. So he hid you instead. He gave me money, new identification, drove me to the farmhouse. Destiny's voice dropped. He told me if I ever contacted anyone from my old life, Richard would find out. He would send someone else, someone who wouldn't hesitate. So you stayed hidden. For 18 months, until Maya found me. The room was silent when she finished. Detective Mitchell's face was grim. Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Your testimony, combined with the evidence we've gathered, it gives us a strong case. Strong enough to get my son back. We're working on that. At 7:45 p.m., they took Destiny to see Isaiah. The meeting was held in a neutral location, a social services office with soft lighting and comfortable chairs. A social worker was present along with Detective Mitchell and Maya. Destiny's hands were shaking as she walked into the room. Isaiah was sitting on the floor playing with blocks. He looked up when the door opened. For a moment, nothing happened. Then Isaiah saw Maya and his face lit up. "Mama!" He scrambled to his feet and ran toward her. Maya knelt down and caught him in a hug. "Hey, sweet boy. Hey, I missed you." Isaiah clung to her neck, babbling happily. Then he noticed Destiny standing there. He went still. His little eyes studied her face. Something flickered in his expression. Confusion, recognition, something deeper that had no words. "Isaiah." Destiny's voice was barely a whisper. "Hi, baby. Hi, my sweet boy." She knelt down so slowly, tears streaming down her face. "I'm your mama. I know you don't remember me. I know you were so small when they took you, but I've loved you every single day, every single second." Isaiah stared at her. His little hand reached out and touched her face, tracing the tears on her cheek. "Ma," he said softly. "Yes, baby. Mama." Isaiah looked at Maya, then back at Destiny. Something clicked in his little mind. Some connection that defied logic and reason. He reached for Destiny. She caught him and held him against her chest, sobbing. Isaiah wrapped his arms around her neck and held on tight the way he'd held on to Maya all those weeks ago. "My baby." Destiny rocked him gently. "My beautiful baby boy. Mama's here. Mama's finally here." Maya watched them, tears streaming down her own face. The social worker was crying too. Even Detective Mitchell looked moved. Isaiah pulled back and looked at Destiny's face again. Then he smiled. "Ma," he said, more certain this time. "Ma, ma, ma." Destiny laughed through her tears. "Yes, baby, that's right. I'm your ma. I'm your real ma." She looked at Maya over Isaiah's head. "Thank you. Thank you for finding him. Thank you for taking care of him. Thank you for not giving up. That's what family does. Family." Destiny smiled, the first real smile Maya had seen since finding her. "We're family, all three of us." Isaiah looked between the two women who loved him. Then he reached out one hand to Maya. "Ma," he said to Destiny, then pointing at Maya, "Ma." The social worker laughed softly. "Looks like he's got two mothers now." "He always did," Maya said. "He just didn't know it yet." The court hearing was scheduled for 3 days later. Richard Ashford's lawyers had filed every motion imaginable, trying to delay, trying to discredit, trying to make the whole thing disappear. But Detective Mitchell and the prosecution team held firm. "We have evidence, we have witnesses, we have Destiny's testimony." The lead prosecutor, a woman named Patricia Webb, was confident. "Richard Ashford is going down." "What about Isaiah?" Maya asked. "What happens to him?" "If the court rules the adoption was fraudulent, it will be overturned. Destiny will be granted custody." "And Victoria?" Patricia hesitated. "That's more complicated. Victoria may have been deceived by her husband, but she's also been raising Isaiah for 18 months. She has legal rights as his adoptive mother." "She has no rights." Destiny's voice was hard. "She was part of taking my son from me. I don't care if she knew all the details or not." "The court will decide, but I promise you we're going to fight for Isaiah to be with his real family." The night before the hearing, Maya couldn't sleep. She sat in the hotel room with Destiny, watching Isaiah sleep in the portable crib Child Protective Services had provided. His face was peaceful. His little chest rose and fell with each breath. "What if something goes wrong?" Destiny whispered. "What if Richard's lawyers find some loophole? What if they take him away again? They won't. You can't know that." Maya took her sister's hand. "You're right. I can't. But I know one thing for certain. Whatever happens tomorrow, whatever the court decides, we're not giving up. We're never giving up. I'm scared, Maya. I know, me too, but we've come too far to stop now. Destiny leaned her head on Maya's shoulder. 18 months ago, I thought my life was over. I thought I would never see my son again. Never see you again. Her voice cracked. But here we are, against all odds, together. Together, Maya repeated. That's how we're going to win this. Together. At 9 a.m. the next morning, they walked into the courthouse. Richard Ashford was already there, surrounded by lawyers in expensive suits. He looked at Destiny across the room and something flickered in his eyes. Fear, maybe. Or hatred. Victoria sat alone on a bench near the back. Her face was pale and drawn. She didn't look at anyone. The judge entered. Everyone rose. Court is now in session. The matter before us is the validity of the adoption of Isaiah Johnson, also known as Isaiah Ashford, and the custody rights of the biological mother, Destiny Johnson. Patricia Webb stood up. Your Honor, the prosecution intends to prove that this adoption was obtained through fraud, coercion, and criminal conspiracy. We will present evidence showing that Mr. Richard Ashford threatened the biological mother, forged her signature on consent documents, and attempted to have her murdered when she refused to cooperate. Richard's lead lawyer shot to his feet. Objection. These are inflammatory accusations with no basis in fact. The evidence will speak for itself, Patricia replied calmly. We have payment records, witness testimony, and physical evidence proving Mr. Ashford's involvement in multiple crimes. Proceed, the judge said. The prosecution went first. They presented the forged signature analysis, the payment records to Marcus Cole, the photograph of Destiny unconscious in the van. David Park testified about his 18-month investigation. Margaret O'Sullivan testified about what she'd seen and heard in the Ashford household, and then Destiny took the stand. She told her story again. Everything. From the beginning, the job, the affair, the pregnancy, the threats, the night she thought she was going to die. When Marcus Cole put me in that van, I was certain it was over. I prayed. I talked to my baby even though he hadn't been born yet. I told him I was sorry. I told him I loved him. What happened next? Marcus stopped the van. He looked at me for a long time, and then he said, I can't do this. I have a daughter your age. He gave me money and drove me to a farmhouse upstate. He told me to stay hidden or Richard would send someone else. And you stayed hidden for 18 months. Yes, I was terrified. I had nothing. No family, no friends, no hope. Destiny's voice broke. Until my sister found me. Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Patricia turned to the judge. No further questions. Richard's lawyer stood up for cross-examination. He was aggressive, condescending, trying to paint Destiny as a gold digger who'd gotten cold feet about the adoption deal. Isn't it true you were having an affair with a married man? I made a mistake, but that doesn't give anyone the right to steal my child. Isn't it true you signed the adoption papers willingly? I never signed anything. That signature is a forgery. Isn't it true you took $50,000 to give up your parental rights? I never received any money. Check my bank accounts. There's nothing. The lawyer's face reddened. He had no good answers. The evidence was too strong. Finally, the judge called for a recess to consider the testimony. Maya found Destiny in the hallway, shaking. You did amazing. I felt like I was going to throw up the whole time. But you didn't. You told the truth. You stood up to them. Victoria approached them. Maya tensed, stepping in front of Destiny. I just want to talk. Victoria's voice was different, smaller. Please. Why should we listen to anything you have to say? Because I didn't know. Victoria's eyes filled with tears. I swear to God I didn't know. Richard told me you took the money. He told me you wanted nothing to do with the baby. He told me... He lied, Destiny said flatly. I know that now, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Victoria wiped her eyes. I loved Isaiah. I still love him, but he's not mine. He was never mine. No, he wasn't. I'm not going to fight you. Victoria took a shaky breath. I'm not going to contest the custody decision. Whatever the judge decides, I'll accept it. Maya and Destiny exchanged surprised looks. Why? Destiny asked. Because I remember what it felt like when I found out I couldn't have children. The grief, the emptiness. Victoria looked at Isaiah, who was being held by a social worker nearby. You felt that pain for 18 months. Because of my husband. Because of me. She reached into her purse and pulled out an envelope. This is everything I know about Richard's business dealings, hidden accounts, illegal payments, things even the police don't know yet. She handed it to Destiny. Use it. Make sure he never hurts anyone again. Victoria walked away without looking back. Maya stared at the envelope. Did that really just happen? I don't know. Destiny opened it. Her eyes widened. Maya, this is enough to put Richard away for years. The judge called everyone back into the courtroom. I have reviewed the evidence and testimony presented in this case. It is clear to me that the adoption of Isaiah Johnson was obtained through fraudulent means. The signature on the consent documents has been proven to be a forgery. The biological mother was coerced and threatened. There is substantial evidence of criminal conspiracy. Richard's lawyer tried to object, but the judge silenced him. Therefore, I am ruling that the adoption is null and void. Custody of Isaiah Johnson is hereby granted to his biological mother, Destiny Johnson, effective immediately. Destiny collapsed against Maya, sobbing. Additionally, the judge continued, I am ordering Mr. Richard Ashford to be held without bail pending trial on charges of fraud, conspiracy, and attempted murder. Richard's face went white. His lawyers erupted in protest. The judge banged her gavel. Order, Mr. Ashford, you will be remanded to custody. This court is adjourned. Bailiffs moved toward Richard. He looked across the room at Destiny, his eyes burning with hatred. This isn't over, he said. You think you've won? You have no idea what I'm capable of. Suck. Neither did you, Destiny replied. But you do now. They took Richard away in handcuffs. Outside the courthouse, Maya held Isaiah while Destiny talked to reporters. I want everyone to know what happened to me. I want every woman who's been silenced, who's been threatened, who's been told she's powerless against men with money to know that we can fight back. We can win. Isaiah squirmed in Maya's arms. Ma, he said, pointing at Destiny. Ma? Destiny turned and smiled the biggest smile Maya had ever seen. That's right, baby. Mama's here, and I'm never leaving you again. The cameras flashed for another 20 minutes before Detective Mitchell finally pulled them away. We need to get you somewhere safe. Richard has people on the outside. Just because he's in custody doesn't mean the danger is over. Maya held Isaiah tighter. Where do we go? I've arranged a safe house, unmarked location, security detail. You'll stay there until Richard's trial. How long will that be? Could be months. His lawyers are already filing appeals. Mitchell's jaw tightened. Men like Richard Ashford don't go down easy. They fight dirty. They fight to the end. Destiny took Isaiah from Maya's arms. The little boy immediately grabbed her hair and held on. I don't care how long it takes. I've waited 18 months. I can wait a little longer. They drove for 2 hours in an unmarked van with tinted windows. Isaiah fell asleep in Destiny's lap, his little fist clutching her shirt. Maya watched her sister stare down at him, memorizing every feature of his face. He has your nose, Maya said softly, and your stubbornness. Destiny smiled. Remember when you were little and Mama told you not to touch the stove? You touched it 3 times just to prove you could handle it. I still have the scar. Isaiah is going to be just like that. I can already tell. The safe house was a small ranch home in the middle of nowhere. 2 plainclothes officers were already stationed outside. Inside it was simple but clean. 2 bedrooms, a kitchen, a living room with a TV that got 3 channels. Home sweet home, Mitchell said. I'll check in every day. If you need anything, call this number. She handed Maya a card. And Maya, you did good. Your sister is alive because of you. That little boy has a future because of you. I just did what family does. Not everyone would have. Trust me. Mitchell paused at the door. Get some rest. You've earned it. The first night was strange. Isaiah woke up crying at 2 a.m. Destiny was there, before Maya could even get out of bed. Shh, baby. Mama's here. Mama's got you. Maya stood in the doorway, watching her sister rock Isaiah back to sleep. There was something sacred about it, something she didn't want to interrupt. You can come in, huh? Destiny said without turning around. I didn't want to intrude. You're not intruding. You're family. Destiny patted the space beside her on the bed. Sit with me. Maya sat down. Isaiah was already drifting off again, his breathing slowing. I used to dream about this, Destiny whispered. Every night in that farmhouse, I would close my eyes and imagine holding him, singing to him, watching him sleep. And now you're doing it for real. It doesn't feel real yet. I keep expecting to wake up, to find out it was all just another dream. It's not a dream. He's here. You're here. We're together. Destiny leaned her head on Maya's shoulder. I never thanked you properly. For what? For not giving up. For believing I was still out there when everyone else had moved on. Destiny's voice cracked. For loving my son when I couldn't. Maya put her arm around her sister. That's what big sisters do. We hold on, we fight, we never let go. They sat like that until the sun came up, Isaiah sleeping peacefully between them. 3 days later, the first threat arrived. Maya was in the kitchen making breakfast when her burner phone buzzed. Unknown number. Hello, Ms. Johnson. The voice was distorted, mechanical. Your sister made a mistake testifying against Mr. Ashford. A very expensive mistake. Maya's blood went cold. Who is this someone who's been paid to deliver a message? Tell Destiny to recant her testimony. Tell her to say she lied about everything. If she doesn't, that little boy is going to grow up without a mother, again. The line went dead. Maya's hands were shaking so badly she dropped the phone. It clattered on the kitchen floor just as Destiny walked in. What's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost. We need to call Mitchell, now. Detective Mitchell arrived within the hour. She listened to the recording Maya had made of the call, her face growing darker by the second. This is a direct threat. Richard is reaching out from prison. How, Destiny demanded. He's supposed to be in custody. Men like Richard have networks, associates, people who owe him favors. Mitchell turned to one of her officers. I want his phone privileges revoked immediately, and I want a full audit of every visitor he's had since his arrest. What about us? Maya asked. What do we do? You stay here, you stay hidden, and you don't answer any calls from unknown numbers. That's it, just hide and wait. For now, yes. Mitchell's voice softened. I know it's frustrating, but the best thing you can do right now is stay safe. Richard wants you scared. He wants you to panic, make mistakes. Don't give him that satisfaction. After Mitchell left, Destiny sat at the kitchen table staring at nothing. Maybe I should recant. Maya spun around. What? If it keeps Isaiah safe, if it keeps you safe, maybe I should just tell them I lied. Absolutely not. Maya sat down across from her. Destiny, listen to me. If you recant, Richard walks free. He goes back to his mansion, and his money, and his power. And then what? You think he'll just let you live your life. You'll spend the rest of your days looking over your shoulder. I'm already doing that. But at least this way there's an end in sight. Richard goes to prison. He loses everything, and we get to start over. Destiny looked at her with exhausted eyes. What if something happens to you, to Isaiah? Nothing is going to happen. We have protection. We have the law on our side. Richard has money. Money beats the law. It always has. Maya reached across the table and took her sister's hands. Not this time. This time we win. I promise you. Destiny didn't look convinced, but she nodded. Okay, we stay the course. We stay the course. At 4:17 p.m. that afternoon, Maya's phone buzzed again. She almost didn't answer, but the caller ID showed David Park's number. David? Maya, we have a problem. His voice was urgent. Victoria Ashford just held a press conference. What? What did she say, Pete? She recanted everything. She's saying Richard was framed. She's claiming Destiny seduced her husband and then tried to extort them when she got pregnant. Maya felt the floor drop out from under her. That's a lie. She gave us evidence against Richard. She said she wouldn't fight the custody ruling. I know, but her lawyers are spinning it as coerced testimony. They're saying the police pressured her into cooperating. That's insane. It gets worse. They filed a motion to have the adoption ruling overturned. They want Isaiah back. Maya's legs gave out. She grabbed the counter to keep from falling. They can't do that. The judge already ruled. They're claiming new evidence, some kind of document that proves Destiny signed the adoption papers willingly. That signature was forged. We proved it. I know, but Victoria is saying she has the original document. The one with Destiny's real signature. Maya's mind raced. This didn't make sense. Destiny never signed anything. The experts had confirmed the signature was fake, unless... David, where did Victoria get this document? I don't know, but we need to find out. Fast. Maya hung up and ran to find Destiny. Her sister was in the backyard watching Isaiah play in a small sandbox the officers had set up. She looked peaceful, happy. Maya hated what she was about to do. Destiny, we need to talk. Something in Maya's voice made Destiny stand up immediately. What happened? Victoria recanted. She's saying Richard was framed, and she has a document she claims you signed. Destiny's face went white. That's impossible. I never signed anything. Are you sure? Think back. Before the baby was born, did Richard ever give you papers? Anything at all? Destiny shook her head frantically. No, never. He knew I wouldn't cooperate. That's why he threatened me. Then where did this document come from? I don't know. Destiny's voice rose. I swear to God, Maya, I never signed anything. Isaiah looked up at the sound of his mother's distress. His little face crumpled. Mama said... Destiny took a deep breath and forced a smile. No, baby. Mama's okay. Mama's just talking to Auntie Maya. She picked him up and held him close, her eyes meeting Maya's over his head. What do? We fight. We prove the document is fake, just like the other one. And if we can't... Maya didn't have an answer for that. That night, Maya couldn't sleep. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, her mind racing through every possibility. Where had Victoria gotten this document? Why had she changed her story? What was Richard offering her? At 1:23 a.m., she heard a sound outside. Footsteps, soft, careful, moving toward the house. Maya sat up, her heart pounding. She grabbed the phone Mitchell had given her and crept to the window. Two figures moved through the darkness. They weren't the officers stationed outside. The officers were gone. Destiny. Maya ran to her sister's room. Wake up. Someone's here. Destiny was already awake. Isaiah clutched to her chest. I heard them. What do we do? Bathroom. Now. Lock the door and call Mitchell. What about you? I'll hold them off. Maya? No. Go. Destiny ran with Isaiah. Maya heard the bathroom door slam, the lock click. The front door burst open. Two men in black masks rushed inside. Maya grabbed a lamp and swung it at the first one. It connected with his head, and he stumbled back. The second man caught her arm and twisted. Pain exploded through her shoulder. Don't fight, he hissed. We're not here for you. You're not taking them. She kicked, bit, scratched. The man cursed and threw her against the wall. Her head hit the plaster, and stars exploded behind her eyes. Through the ringing in her ears, she heard Destiny screaming. No, get away from us. The bathroom door splintered. Maya dragged herself up. Her vision swam. She could see one of the men carrying Isaiah the baby shrieking in terror. The other had Destiny by the arm, dragging her toward the back door. Isaiah! Maya screamed. Destiny! She ran after them, but her legs wouldn't work right. She fell in the hallway, her face hitting the carpet. The last thing she heard before darkness took her was Isaiah's voice crying for her. Mama! Maya woke in a hospital bed. Detective Mitchell sat beside her, her face grim. Where are they? Maya tried to sit up. Pain stabbed through her skull. Where's Destiny? Where's Isaiah? We don't know. Mitchell's voice was heavy. By the time backup arrived, they were gone. The officers on duty were found unconscious in their car. Someone drugged them. Richard did this. We know, but we can't prove it yet. Maya grabbed Mitchell's arm. Find them. You have to find them. We're doing everything we can. Every available unit is searching. We have roadblocks on every major highway. That's not enough, Maya's voice broke. They have my sister. They have my nephew. You have to do more. Mitchell took Maya's hand. I promise you we will find them. I won't rest until we do. Promises don't bring them back. No, but they're all I have right now. At 6:47 a.m., Maya's burner phone buzzed. Unknown number. She answered despite Mitchell's warning. Ms. Johnson? Richard Ashford's voice. Smug. Satisfied. I believe I have something that belongs to you. Where are they? Safe, for now, but that could change very quickly. What do you want? You know what I want? Destiny recants her testimony. The charges against me are dropped, and I get my son back. He's not your son. Legally, he is, or he will be once Victoria's motion goes through. Richard laughed. Did you really think you could beat me, a cleaning lady and a kitchen worker, against a billionaire? How naive. If you hurt them, I'm not going to hurt them. Not if you cooperate. His voice hardened. You have 48 hours. If I'm not released by then, you'll never see either of them again. The line went dead. Maya threw the phone across the room. Mitchell picked it up. We traced the call. It came from inside the prison. Richard used a guard's phone. So arrest him for kidnapping. We will, but that doesn't help us find Destiny and Isaiah. Richard's not going to tell us where they are unless we give him what he wants. Maya's mind raced. Victoria knows. She's not talking. Her lawyers have her locked down tight. Then we find another way. Maya pushed herself out of bed. Her head screamed in protest. Marcus Cole. He saved Destiny once. Maybe he can help us again. Cole disappeared after the trial. We don't know where he is. I do. Maya grabbed her jacket. He gave me a number for emergencies. Maya, you're in no condition. I don't care about my condition. My family is out there. I'm going to get them back. Mitchell hesitated, then nodded. I'll drive. Marcus Cole lived in a trailer park on the outskirts of Hartford. When Maya knocked on his door, he answered with a gun in his hand. Jesus! He lowered the weapon when he saw her. You look like hell. Richard took them. Destiny and Isaiah. I need your help. Marcus's face went pale. How? 2 men broke into the safe house. They're gone. Marcus stepped back, running his hand through his hair. God damn it. I warned him. I told him to leave it alone. Told who? Marcus looked at her for a long moment. Then he sighed. Richard has a partner. Someone who handles the dirty work. Someone even I was scared of. Who? His brother, James Ashford. He lives off the grid somewhere in upstate Vermont. Has a compound out there. Security, weapons, the whole deal. You think that's where they took them? It's the only place that makes sense. James is a psychopath, ex-military. He's been cleaning up Richard's messes for years. Maya grabbed his arm. Take me there. Are you crazy? James will kill us both. I don't care. My sister is in there. My nephew is in there. I'm not leaving them. Marcus stared at her. Something in his eyes shifted. You really love them, don't you? More than my own life. Marcus was quiet for a long time. Then he grabbed his jacket. Let's go. The drive to Vermont took 4 hours. Mitchell followed in an unmarked car with a team of state police behind her. They couldn't get a warrant without probable cause, but they could be ready if something happened. Marcus drove in silence, his knuckles white on the steering wheel. Why are you helping me? Maya finally asked. Because I made a mistake 18 months ago. I should have killed Richard Ashford instead of hiding your sister. You saved her life. I condemned her to 18 months of hell, and now his brother has her. Marcus's voice was bitter. I've done a lot of bad things in my life, hurt a lot of people, but I've never been able to live with what I did to Destiny. You didn't do anything to her. Richard did. I worked for him. I took his money. I'm just as guilty. Maya looked out the window at the passing trees. My grandmother used to say that redemption isn't about what you've done. It's about what you do next. Marcus glanced at her. Your grandmother sounds like a wise woman. She was. She raised me and Destiny after our parents died. She taught us that family is everything, that blood doesn't make family, love does. And you love Destiny. She's my little sister. I've loved her since the day she was born. Marcus was quiet again. Then he said, I have a daughter, Christina. She's 23 now. I haven't seen her in 5 years. She found out what I do for a living and He swallowed. She said I was a monster, said she never wanted to see me again. Maybe after this you can try to make things right with her. Maybe. He didn't sound convinced. Or maybe some things can't be made right. The compound was exactly what Marcus had described. High fences, security cameras, armed guards patrolling the perimeter. Marcus parked the car on a ridge overlooking the property. There are at least 10 men down there, all ex-military, all heavily armed. How do we get in? There's a service entrance on the east side. It's how they bring in supplies. Should be less guarded. Should be. Best I can offer. Mitchell's car pulled up beside them. She got out with a grim expression. I can't send my people in there without a warrant, but I can tell them to be ready to move if they hear gunshots. That's not good enough, Maya said. It's all I have. Mal? Mitchell handed Maya a small device. Panic button. Press it and we breach. But Maya, if you go in there without backup, you might not come out. Maya looked at the compound. Somewhere in there, Destiny and Isaiah were waiting for her. I'm going in. I figured you'd say that. Mitchell pulled out a gun and handed it to her. Do you know how to use this? Maya had never held a gun in her life, but she took it anyway. Point and shoot. Close enough. Safety's on the left. Don't hesitate. If someone tries to hurt you, you pull that trigger. Marcus checked his own weapon. Ready. Maya thought about Destiny, about Isaiah, about everything they'd been through. Ready. They moved through the woods like shadows. Marcus knew the terrain better than Maya expected. He found gaps in the security coverage routes the cameras couldn't see. They reached the service entrance in 15 minutes. One guard, smoking a cigarette, not paying attention. Marcus moved before Maya could blink. The guard went down silently unconscious. Inside, quick! They slipped through the door. The building was cold and industrial. Concrete floors, bare walls, the hum of generators somewhere in the distance. James keeps his prisoners in the basement, Marcus whispered. This way. They crept down a stairwell deeper into the building. Maya's heart pounded so loud she was sure someone would hear it. At the bottom of the stairs, a heavy metal door blocked their path. Locked, Marcus muttered. We need a code. Maya looked around desperately. There had to be another way. Then she heard it. A baby crying. Isaiah. He's in there. Maya pressed her hands against the door. Isaiah, Destiny, I'm here. Maya, quiet. Marcus grabbed her arm. You'll bring every guard in the building down on us. I don't care. My family is behind that door. Footsteps, above them, getting closer. Marcus cursed. We're out of time. Stand back. He raised his gun and fired 3 shots at the lock. The door swung open. Inside was a small cell. Destiny sat on a concrete floor. Isaiah clutched to her chest. Her face was bruised. Her lip was bleeding. But she was alive. Maya. Maya ran to her sister and dropped to her knees. I'm here. I'm here. Are you okay? Is Isaiah okay? We're okay. We're okay. Destiny was crying. How did you find us? Later. We need to go now. Marcus appeared in the doorway. Company's coming. Lots of it. Maya helped Destiny up. Isaiah reached for her, and she took him, holding him tight against her chest. Ma, he whimpered. Scared? I know, baby. We're going home, I promise. They ran, up the stairs, through the corridors, toward the exit. But James Ashford was waiting for them. He stood in the doorway, blocking their escape. Tall, cold-eyed. A gun pointed directly at Maya's head. Going somewhere. Marcus stepped forward. James, let them go. This is between you and Richard. They're innocent. Nobody's innocent, Cole. You of all people should know that. James's eyes moved to Destiny. My brother wants his son back, and he always gets what he wants. Isaiah is not his son, Destiny said, her voice shaking but defiant. He never was. Legally he is, that's all that matters. James raised his gun higher. Now, put the baby down and step away. No, that wasn't a request. Maya's finger found the trigger of Mitchell's gun. She'd never shot anyone before, never even held a weapon before tonight. But she would kill this man before she let him take Isaiah. Last chance, James said. Put him down. Maya raised her gun. James's eyes widened. You won't shoot me. You don't have it in you. Try me. They stood there, frozen, guns pointed at each other. Then Marcus moved. He lunged at James, tackling him to the ground. The gun went off. Maya screamed. Go out, Marcus shouted. Get them out of here. Maya grabbed Destiny's arm and ran. Behind her, she heard fighting, gunshots, screaming. She didn't look back. They burst out of the building into the cold Vermont night. Maya pressed the panic button. Sirens, flashing lights, Mitchell's team swarming the compound. Over here, Maya waved. We need help. Officers surrounded them. Medics checked Isaiah and Destiny. Someone wrapped a blanket around Maya's shoulders. She couldn't feel it. Couldn't feel anything. Marcus, she said. He's still inside. Mitchell's face was grim. We'll get him. They brought Marcus out 20 minutes later. He was bleeding from a wound in his side, but he was alive. James Ashford was in handcuffs behind him. Told you I'd help, Marcus said weakly. Maya grabbed his hand. Thank you for everything. Marcus smiled. It was the first real smile she'd ever seen on his face. Tell your grandmother she was right, about redemption. The ambulance took him away before Maya could respond. At 11:42 p.m., Maya sat in the back of an ambulance, Destiny beside her, Isaiah asleep in his mother's arms. Detective Mitchell approached them. It's over. James is in custody. Richard's lawyers are withdrawing all their motions. Victoria cracked under questioning and admitted she was coerced into lying. What happens to Richard? Life in prison minimum. The additional kidnapping charges guarantee he'll never see the outside of a cell again. Destiny let out a sound that was half laugh, half sob. It's really over. It's really over. Maya put her arm around her sister. We did it. We actually did it. Destiny leaned against her, tears streaming down her face. I never thought I'd see this day. Never thought I'd be free. You're free. Isaiah's free. We all are. Isaiah stirred in his sleep. His little hand reached out and grabbed Maya's finger. Ma, he murmured without waking. Maya kissed his forehead. That's right, baby. Mama's here. Both your mamas are here. And we're never letting you go again. The hospital was quiet at midnight. Maya sat in a plastic chair beside Destiny's bed watching her sister sleep. Isaiah was curled up against his mother's side, one tiny hand gripping her hospital gown. Even in sleep, he wouldn't let go of her. Maya understood that feeling perfectly. A soft knock at the door made her turn. David Park stood in the doorway, his arm in a sling, his face pale but determined. How are they? Exhausted, traumatized, but alive. Maya's voice cracked. They're alive, David. And you... Maya looked down at her hands. They were still shaking. She didn't think they would ever stop. I don't know. I don't know how to feel anything right now. David sat down beside her. You did something incredible tonight. You went into a fortified compound with no backup and rescued your family. Most people would have waited for the police. The police couldn't help, not fast enough. That's my point. You didn't wait. You acted. David looked at her with something like admiration. Your sister is lucky to have you. We're lucky to have each other. Destiny stirred in her sleep. Her eyes fluttered open. Maya? I'm here, baby. I'm right here. Destiny reached out and Maya took her hand. I thought I was going to die in that cell. I thought they were going to kill me and take Isaiah and nobody would ever know the truth. But they didn't. You're safe now. Because of you. Destiny squeezed her hand. You came for me. Again. Just like you always have. That's what sisters do. Isaiah woke up, then his little face scrunching as he yawned. He looked around the hospital room with confused eyes. Mama! Right here, baby. Destiny kissed his forehead. Mama's right here. Isaiah looked at Maya and reached for her too. Ma? Maya laughed through her tears. He's going to give both of us a complex. He knows what he's doing. Destiny smiled. He knows he's got two mothers who love him. Detective Mitchell arrived at 7 a.m. with news. Richard Ashford's trial has been fast-tracked. Given the kidnapping charges and the attempt to intimidate witnesses, the judge is refusing bail. He'll be in custody until sentencing. How long? Maya asked. The prosecutor is pushing for life without parole. Between the original fraud charges, the conspiracy to commit murder, and now the kidnapping, Richard is looking at multiple consecutive sentences. What about James? Same deal, maybe worse. James has a history we didn't know about. Turns out Richard's been using his brother to clean up problems for years. We've connected him to at least 3 unsolved disappearances. Destiny's face went pale. 3 other people. Women mostly. Women Richard got involved with. Women who threatened to expose him. Mitchell's voice was heavy. You were supposed to be the 4th Destiny. If Marcus hadn't saved you... I don't want to think about that. You don't have to. Not anymore. Mitchell straightened up. The FBI has taken over the case. This is bigger than Connecticut now. Richard Ashford built an empire on intimidation and violence. We're going to tear the whole thing down. After Mitchell left, Maya found Destiny staring out the window. What are you thinking about? All those other women. The ones who weren't as lucky as me? Destiny's voice was quiet. They didn't have a sister who refused to give up. They didn't have a Marcus Cole who had a crisis of conscience. You can't blame yourself for surviving. I'm not blaming myself. I'm grateful. Destiny turned to face her. But I want to do something, Maya. I want to make sure no other woman goes through what I went through. What do you mean? I want to start a foundation, a place where women who've been victimized by powerful men can get help, legal aid, counseling protection. Everything I didn't have when Richard came after me. Maya felt her heart swell. That's a beautiful idea. It won't bring back the women James killed. It won't undo what happened to me. But maybe it can help someone else. Maybe it can give another Destiny a fighting chance. Then we'll do it, together. Destiny smiled, the first real smile Maya had seen since the rescue. Together. I like the sound of that. 3 days later, they released Destiny and Isaiah from the hospital. Maya had spent those 3 days making arrangements, finding an apartment, buying furniture, stocking the refrigerator with food. She wanted everything to be perfect when her sister came home. Home. Such a simple word. But for Destiny, it meant everything. The apartment was small but clean on the 3rd floor of a building in a quiet neighborhood. 2 bedrooms, a tiny kitchen, a living room with enough space for Isaiah to play. It's not much, Maya said as she opened the door. But it's ours. Destiny walked inside, slowly Isaiah in her arms. She looked around at the furniture, the curtains, the flowers Maya had put on the kitchen table. "It's perfect," her voice broke. "Maya, it's absolutely perfect. I wanted you to have a real home, both of you." Destiny set Isaiah down on the carpet. The little boy immediately started exploring, crawling toward a pile of toys Maya had bought. "How can I ever repay you for everything you've done?" "You don't repay family." Maya pulled her sister into a hug. "You just love them. That's all I need from you. Just love me back." "I do. I always have. Even when I was hiding, even when I thought I'd never see you again, I never stopped loving you." "I know. I felt it every single day." The first week was hard. Isaiah had nightmares. He would wake up screaming, reaching for Destiny, crying until she held him. The trauma of the kidnapping had left marks that couldn't be seen. Destiny had nightmares too. She would jolt awake in the middle of the night, certain that James Ashford was standing over her bed. Maya would hear her crying through the thin walls and go to her, hold her, remind her that she was safe. "It's not real," Maya would whisper. "The monsters are in prison. They can't hurt you anymore." I know they can't." Destiny would grip Maya's hand like a lifeline. "But my brain doesn't believe it yet." "It will. Give it time." "How much time? How long until I stop jumping at every shadow?" Maya didn't have an answer. She just held her sister until the sun came up. At the end of the first week, they had an unexpected visitor. Marcus Cole stood in the doorway of their apartment, flowers in his hand, uncertainty on his face. "I hope I'm not intruding." Maya stared at him. He looked different than before, smaller somehow, less like a man who had hurt people for money, and more like a man carrying the weight of his sins. "Come in." Marcus walked inside slowly, his eyes taking in the small apartment, the toys on the floor, Isaiah playing with blocks in the corner. "I wanted to see how you were doing, both of you." Destiny emerged from the kitchen. She froze when she saw Marcus. "You!" "Ms. Johnson, I know you probably don't want to see me. I know I'm the last person who deserves to be here." Marcus held out the flowers. "But I needed to say something." "Say it." Marcus took a deep breath. "I'm sorry for everything I did, for the terror you must have felt that night in the van, for the 18 months you spent hiding because of me. I know an apology doesn't fix anything. I know words can't undo what I did. No, they can't. But I want you to know that saving you was the first decent thing I'd done in years. And helping Maya find you going into that compound facing James?" He swallowed. "It was the closest I've ever come to being a good man." Destiny was quiet for a long moment. Then she took the flowers. "My grandmother used to say that redemption isn't about what you've done. It's about what you do next." Marcus looked at Maya. "Your sister said the same thing." "We learned it from the same woman." Destiny set the flowers on the table. "I can't forgive you for what you did, Marcus. Maybe someday, but not yet. But I can thank you for what you did at the compound. You risked your life for my son." "It was the least I could do." "No, it wasn't." Destiny met his eyes. "You could have stayed hidden. You could have let James kill us, but you didn't. You chose to help. That matters." Marcus's eyes glistened. "I'm leaving Connecticut, starting over somewhere new, trying to be someone my daughter wouldn't be ashamed of. I hope you find what you're looking for." "I hope you do too, Ms. Johnson. You and your beautiful boy." He left without looking back. Maya found Destiny standing by the window, watching Marcus's car drive away. "Are you okay?" "I don't know." Destiny turned to face her. "I should hate him. Part of me does. But another part of me knows that if he hadn't been there that night, if he hadn't made a different choice, you'd be dead. Isaiah would never have existed." "Exactly." Destiny shook her head. "Life is strange, isn't it? The man who was supposed to kill me ended up saving me. The sister I thought I'd never see again found me against impossible odds. And my son, my beautiful son, survived everything because a cleaning lady loved him when no one else would." "Don't call me that." "What? A cleaning lady?" Maya smiled. "I prefer superhero." Destiny laughed, a real laugh, full and warm and alive. "Okay, my superhero sister. Better. Much better." The trial began 2 months later. Maya sat in the front row of the courtroom, Destiny beside her. Isaiah was at home with a babysitter too young to understand what was happening, too precious to expose to this kind of ugliness. Richard Ashford sat at the defense table, his expensive lawyers surrounding him like armor. He looked thinner than before, his face gaunt, his eyes hollow. Prison hadn't been kind to him. Good, Maya thought. Let him suffer. The prosecutor, Patricia Webb, presented the evidence methodically. The forged signatures, the payment records, the testimony of witnesses who had finally found the courage to speak. Margaret O'Sullivan took the stand and told the court everything she had seen over 20 years. The affairs, the cover-ups, the way Richard treated people like disposable objects. He thought he was untouchable, Margaret said, her voice steady despite her age. He thought money could buy anything, including silence. But some things can't be bought. Some truths can't be buried. David Park testified about his 18-month investigation, the dead ends, the disappeared witnesses, the moment he realized Richard Ashford was willing to kill to protect his secrets. Destiny Johnson hired me because she had no one else to turn to. She was pregnant, scared, and being threatened by one of the most powerful men in the state. I failed to protect her, but I never stopped looking, and eventually the truth came out. Marcus Cole testified via video link from an undisclosed location. He confirmed everything, the payments, the orders, the night he was supposed to kill Destiny and couldn't. Richard Ashford told me to make her disappear. Those were his exact words. Make her disappear, Marcus. Make sure she never comes back. His voice was flat, emotionless. I've done a lot of bad things in my life, but I couldn't kill a pregnant woman. I couldn't take a child's mother from him before he was even born. And then Destiny took the stand. She told her story one more time. The job, the affair, the pregnancy, the threats, the night she thought she was going to die. Richard Ashford stole 18 months of my son's life from me. He stole 18 months of my life. He tried to have me killed when I wouldn't cooperate, and when that failed, he tried to have me kidnapped and silenced. Her voice shook but didn't break. I'm standing here today because of my sister, because of people who refused to let me disappear. But there are other women out there who weren't as lucky. Women who did disappear, women who will never get justice. She looked directly at Richard. You thought you were powerful. You thought money made you untouchable. But here's what you didn't understand. Love is more powerful than money. Family is stronger than fear. And the truth always comes out, no matter how deep you try to bury it. Richard's face was expressionless, but Maya saw something flicker in his eyes. Fear. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. Maya and Destiny sat in the hallway outside the courtroom, holding hand, waiting. Neither of them spoke. There was nothing left to say. At 4:47 p.m., the bailiff called everyone back inside. The foreman stood up a piece of paper in her hands. On the charge of fraud in the first degree, we find the defendant guilty. On the charge of conspiracy to commit murder, we find the defendant guilty. On the charge of kidnapping, we find the defendant guilty. On all remaining charges, we find the defendant guilty. Destiny collapsed against Maya, sobbing. Richard Ashford sat motionless, his face pale, his lawyers already scrambling. The judge set sentencing for 2 weeks later. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed them. Cameras flashed. Microphones were shoved in their faces. Ms. Johnson, how do you feel about the verdict? Destiny wiped her eyes and faced the cameras. I feel like justice was finally served. Not just for me, but for every woman Richard Ashford ever hurt. For every person he silenced. For every family he destroyed. She took Maya's hand. I want everyone watching to know that it's possible to fight back against powerful people. It's possible to win. You just have to refuse to give up. You just have to find your people, your family, and hold on tight. What's next for you? I'm going to raise my son. I'm going to start a foundation to help other survivors of domestic violence and coercion. And I'm going to live my life freely and openly for the first time in 2 years. She smiled. That's what Richard Ashford tried to take from me. My life, my freedom, but he failed, and I'm still here. The sentencing hearing was brief. Richard Ashford was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. James Ashford received the same sentence plus additional time for his other crimes. Victoria Ashford was sentenced to 5 years for her role in the cover-up, though the judge acknowledged that she had been manipulated by her husband. Maya watched them take Richard away in handcuffs. He didn't look at her. He didn't look at anyone. It's over, Destiny whispered. It's really over. It's over. 6 months passed. Spring came to Connecticut, bringing warmth and light and the promise of new beginnings. Maya and Destiny had moved to a small house in a quiet neighborhood. It had a backyard with a swing set and a garden where Destiny was learning to grow vegetables. Isaiah had his own room painted blue with clouds on the ceiling. The Destiny Johnson Foundation had launched 3 months earlier. They had already helped 47 women escape abusive situations, provided legal aid to 32 families, and funded counseling for more than 100 survivors. I never thought I'd be running a nonprofit, Destiny said one evening as they sat on the porch watching Isaiah play. I never thought I'd be anything but scared. You're not scared anymore. Sometimes, late at night when the nightmares come. Destiny looked at her son and her face softened. But then I look at him and I look at you and I remember that I'm not alone. I was never alone. You had me. I had you. Destiny reached over and squeezed Maya's hand. I had you and you never gave up. Not when everyone said I was gone. Not when it would have been easier to walk away. Not when they threatened you you nearly killed you. That's what family does. No. Destiny shook her head. That's what love does. Real love. The kind that doesn't give up, doesn't count. The cost doesn't ask for anything in return. Isaiah ran toward them, his little legs pumping his face bright with joy. Mama, Auntie, look! He held up a dandelion, the white seeds catching the evening light. It's beautiful, baby, Destiny said. Make a wish. Isaiah closed his eyes tight and blew, the seeds scattered into the air, floating away on the breeze. What did you wish for? Maya asked. Isaiah grinned. Can't tell, won't come true. Destiny laughed and pulled him into her lap. You're absolutely right. Keep your wishes safe. Maya watched them, mother and son, finally together, finally free. She thought about everything they had been through, the fear, the pain, the desperate hope that had kept her searching when everyone else had given up. She thought about Margaret, who had finally retired from service work and was spending her days volunteering at the foundation. About David, who had written a book about the case and donated all the proceeds to helping other investigators track down missing persons. About Marcus, who had reportedly reconnected with his daughter and was working construction somewhere in Texas. She thought about Victoria serving her sentence in a minimum security facility, writing letters to Isaiah that Destiny read but never answered. Maybe someday there would be forgiveness, maybe not. Some wounds took longer to heal than others, and she thought about herself. The invisible woman who had pushed a cleaning cart through a mansion full of secrets. The sister who had refused to let go. The aunt who had loved a stranger's baby before she knew he was family. Maya? Destiny's voice pulled her back to the present. Yeah? Thank you. For what? For everything, for finding me, for saving Isaiah, for giving me my life back. Destiny's eyes glistened. I don't say it enough. I get caught up in the day-to-day and running the foundation and raising Isaiah. But I never forget. Not for a single second. You don't have to thank me, Destiny. Yes, I do, because you could have walked away. That first day when you heard Isaiah crying, you could have kept pushing your cart. You could have stayed invisible, but you didn't. You stopped. You listened. You opened a door. Maya felt tears burning in her eyes. He was crying for someone to love him. How could I walk away from that? Most people would have. Most people did. The nannies, the doctors, even Victoria in her own way. They all saw a problem, baby, a difficult child. But you saw something else. I saw you, Maya's voice cracked. I didn't know it then, but I saw you in his eyes. I saw our grandmother in his smile. I saw family. Destiny was crying now too. Isaiah looked between them with confusion. Why Mama sad? Why Auntie sad? We're not sad, baby. Destiny kissed his forehead. We're happy. Sometimes people cry when they're really, really happy. That's silly. Yes, it is. Destiny laughed through her tears. It's very silly. Isaiah wriggled out of her lap and ran back to the yard, chasing fireflies as the sun set. The two sisters sat together in comfortable silence, watching the light fade, feeling the warmth of the evening, listening to Isaiah's laughter echo across the yard. What happens now? Destiny finally asked. What do you mean? I mean, we won. Richard is in prison. Isaiah is safe. The foundation is growing. Destiny turned to face her. What do you want, Maya, for yourself? It was a question Maya hadn't allowed herself to consider. For so long, everything had been about finding Destiny, protecting Isaiah, fighting the Ashfords. She had put her own life on hold, her own dreams, her own future. I don't know, she admitted. I haven't thought about it. Maybe it's time you did. Maya looked at her sister, at her nephew, at the small house they called home. Maybe I already have what I want. Maybe this is it. A house in the suburbs helping me run a non-profit, being Auntie Maya for the rest of your life. Being with my family. Maya smiled. That's all I've ever wanted, since Mama and Daddy died, since Grandma passed, since you disappeared. All I wanted was to not be alone. To have someone who loved me. To have somewhere I belonged. You have that now. I know, and it's enough. It's more than enough. Destiny leaned her head on Maya's shoulder. I love you, big sister. I love you too, baby girl. Isaiah came running back, fireflies cupped in his hands. Look, look, I caught the lights. Let me see. Maya opened his hands gently. The fireflies glowed against his skin, then flew away into the darkness, tiny sparks of light disappearing into the night. They're gone, Isaiah said sadly. They're not gone. Maya pointed to the yard where hundreds of fireflies were beginning to emerge, their lights blinking like stars fallen to earth. They're everywhere. You just have to know where to look. Isaiah's face lit up with wonder. Magic! Yes, baby. Maya pulled him into her arms. Magic! 1 year later, Maya stood at a podium in front of 300 people. The Destiny Johnson Foundation's annual gala was in full swing. Donors, volunteers, survivors, and supporters filled the ballroom, all there to celebrate the work they had done and the lives they had saved. Destiny sat in the front row with Isaiah on her lap. The little boy was 3 now, talking constantly, curious about everything, full of life and joy and love. 1 year ago, I was a cleaning lady. Maya's voice echoed through the room. I pushed a cart through a mansion, invisible, forgotten, just trying to earn enough to pay my bills. I thought my life didn't matter. I thought I couldn't make a difference. She paused, looking at her sister. But then I heard a baby crying, and I couldn't walk away. That one decision, that one moment of choosing connection over convenience changed everything. It led me to my nephew. It led me to my sister. It led me to all of you. The audience was silent, hanging on every word. The Destiny Johnson Foundation exists because one woman refused to be silenced, because one family refused to give up, because love, real love, is stronger than money, stronger than power, stronger than fear. She held up a photo. Isaiah and Destiny laughing in the backyard, sunlight streaming around them. This is what we're fighting for, not just survival, not just escape, but joy, peace, the chance to live and love and laugh without looking over your shoulder. Maya set down the photo. In the past year, we've helped 423 women escape dangerous situations. We've provided legal aid to 211 families. We've funded counseling for over 500 survivors, and we're just getting started. The applause was thunderous. I want to end with something my grandmother used to say. She raised me and Destiny after our parents died. She taught us that family isn't about blood, it's about love. It's about showing up. It's about holding on even when everything is falling apart. Maya looked at Destiny. My sister was lost for 18 months. Everyone told me to move on. Everyone said she was gone. But I couldn't accept that. I couldn't let go. Because love doesn't let go. Love keeps searching, keeps hoping, keeps fighting long after logic says to stop. She turned back to the audience. If there's one thing I want you to take from tonight, it's this. You are not invisible. Your life matters. Your choices matter. Every single day, you have the power to change someone's world. All you have to do is stop, listen, open a door. She smiled. Thank you all for being part of this family. Thank you for refusing to look away. Thank you for proving that goodness still exists in this world, even in the darkest places. The standing ovation lasted for 5 minutes. Later that night, after the gala ended and the guests went home, Maya found Destiny in the garden outside the venue. Isaiah was asleep in the car with a babysitter. The night was cool and clear, stars scattered across the sky like diamonds. You were amazing up there, Destiny said. I meant every word. I know you did. That's what made it amazing. They stood together in comfortable silence, looking up at the stars. Do you ever think about what would have happened? Destiny asked. If things had gone differently. Sometimes, late at night when I can't sleep. And I realize how close we came to losing everything. One different choice, one moment of weakness, and you'd still be hiding in that farmhouse. Or worse. But we didn't lose. We won. We won. Maya took her sister's hand. Against all odds, against a billionaire and his army of lawyers, against everyone who said it was impossible. Because we had each other. Because we had each other. Destiny turned to face her. I'm going to spend the rest of my life being grateful for you, Maya. Every morning when I wake up and see Isaiah's face, I'm going to thank God for my sister who never gave up. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life being grateful that I stopped that day, that I opened that door, that I listened to my heart instead of my fear. Look at us, Destiny laughed. 2 girls from the projects, taking down billionaires, starting foundations, giving speeches to hundreds of people. Grandma would be proud. Grandma would be insufferable. Destiny grinned. She'd be telling everyone she knew, "My granddaughter's the heroes. Did you see them on the news?" Maya laughed. Really laughed, the kind of laugh that came from deep in her soul. God, I miss her. Me too, every day. They were quiet for a moment, lost in memories. She's watching, you know, Destiny said finally. Wherever she is, she's watching. I know, I feel her sometimes. When things get really hard, when I don't know if I can keep going, I feel her presence, like a hand on my shoulder telling me to stand up straight. Stand up straight and face the world, girls. Destiny quoted their grandmother's favorite saying, "The world will try to knock you down, but you get back up. You always get back up." We got back up. We did. Maya squeezed her sister's hand. Let's go home. Yeah, Destiny smiled. Let's go home. They walked back to the car together, two sisters who had survived the impossible, who had found each other against all odds, who had built a new life from the ashes of the old. Isaiah woke up when they opened the car door. Mama, Auntie, we going home? Yes, baby. Destiny buckled him into his car seat. We're going home. Good, Isaiah yawned. I like home. Me too, baby, me too. Maya started the car and pulled out of the parking lot. The city lights faded behind them as they drove toward the quiet neighborhood where their little house waited. In the rearview mirror, she could see Destiny leaning her head against the window, her eyes closed, a small smile on her lips. Isaiah was already asleep again, his stuffed elephant clutched in his arms. Her family, her whole world, safe and together and free. Maya thought about the journey that had brought them here, the fear, the pain. The moments when giving up would have been so much easier, but she hadn't given up. She had kept going, kept pushing, kept believing, even when belief seemed foolish. And now here they were, not wealthy, not powerful, not living in a mansion with crystal chandeliers and marble floors, but happy, really truly happy, because in the end, that's what mattered. Not money, not status, not the things you owned, or the people you impressed. Just love, just family. Just the simple, beautiful truth that you are not alone. Maya pulled into the driveway and turned off the engine. She sat there for a moment looking at the small house with the blue shutters and the flower boxes in the windows. Their home. Their sanctuary. Their new beginning. She got out of the car and opened the back door to unbuckle Isaiah. The little boy stirred. We home? We're home, baby. He reached for her, and she lifted him into her arms. He wrapped himself around her like he always did, his face pressed against her neck, his little heart beating against her chest. I love you, Auntie Maya. I love you too, Isaiah. More than you'll ever know. Destiny came around the car and put her arm around Maya's shoulder. Ready. Ready. They walked up the path together, mother and sister and son, toward the warm light spilling from the windows. And as Maya opened the door and stepped inside, she knew one thing with absolute certainty. They had won, not because they had money or power or connections, but because they had something Richard Ashford never understood. They had each other, and that was worth more than all the mansions in the world. Because money can buy a lot of things. It can buy silence. It can buy loyalty. It can buy the illusion of love. But it cannot buy the bond between sisters. It cannot buy a mother's love for her child. It cannot buy the courage of a woman who refuses to give up. Some things are not for sale. Some things are priceless. Family is one of them, and Maya Johnson, the invisible cleaning lady who changed the world by opening one door, would never forget that lesson as long as she lived.